and they go out and buy Mercedes Benzes, and they come from here. They have no money. They never had money. They never had a life. They never had a government. They never had a country.
Jesus
This is basically no country. Somalia
Christ.
is not even a country. They don't have anything. The insurrectionists, whatever you want, troublemakers, but they're paid agitators and insurrectionists.
Any proof for that, retard? Any proof for that they're paid? Who's paying them? We've said this for 10 years. Who's paying them? Hello? I'm going to risk a ban to say you probably can't use USB, but must use a configuration port. Why would that be risking a ban? Why are you acting like I would ban you for something that there is no world where I would ban you for saying that. Why would you? The fact that you preface that message with not to risk a ban, kill you in a video game. Oh man, wait, this has been going on for a while. Oh man, he's really live streaming today. He's been live longer than me, almost. Okay, okay, special Trump conference. What do we got?
Wow, that's a big crowd. It's a lot of people. I think it's like a record. So these are accomplishments. We have a lot of accomplishments, and as you know, this is the anniversary, first anniversary, January 20th, and it's been an amazing period of time. We have a book that I'm not going to read to you, but these are the accomplishments of what we've produced. All page after page after page, individual things. I could stand here and read it for a week and we wouldn't be finished. But we've done more than any other administration has done by far in terms of military, in terms of ending wars, in terms of completing wars. Nobody's really seen very much like it. I think it's appropriate that because Minnesota is so much in the fray, and I say to my people all the time, and they're so busy doing other things, they don't say it like they should. They're apprehending murderers and drug dealers and a lot of bad people, and these are just some of the more recent ones that we have, and I can show you some of the people, vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people? International murder.
Oh, we're doing the posters today. Yes.
If they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, and the countries respect us. And
Okay. I have an unmanaged switch. I'm going to plug both my computers into the unmanaged switch and then the switch into the router, and all the stuff will figure itself out automatically. I shouldn't have to configure anything. It'll all just work, right? It will all figure itself. Okay, it better. Whoo! Because if it doesn't, I hate networking. Destiny, you missed this heated debate today. I'll let you guess what it was about. Their hairlines? Dan is 40, I think, and Mutin is in his late 20s. Aren't these good hairlines for 8? I don't think there's any problems here, no?
so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the things that all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country. And it's...
Okay, well, this was different, and I think most of this grew back. The problem was this was 2 years after me and Moot had been duo queuing. Mootin, I'm in. Does that give me a video?
Fucking Leon on me, dog! Hit him! Get her! Go down, foot down, down, down! Don't run away, thank you. Fucking kill her. He's gonna miss the W, and I'm gonna rage.
It's because you're yelling! Wait, where's somebody made a good ARC meme? Where was the ARC Raiders meme for the subreddit? And then we'll go back to the watching my country fall apart.
Talking Shun Guy, baby? This retard is.
Pitch that's fake, right? No, I think I was at my house in Omaha and I had my laptop with me and I was just, the goal was to just tilt the Everly. No! Oh my god, did I? Oh. I thought I just got banned from Discord. Okay. Where's the Unk? Find me the Unk Raiders one. It was on the subreddit yesterday or the day before.
Go Rift runs mid. Thank you, Steven. You're a genius, dude. How do you do it? You're a fucking statistician. Give me you!
Oh, that was a decent one.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
Oh no! They're coming in through the back door! Oh no!
He's just never covering any of the entrances. He's just watching me die every time. Okay.
Been caused by a previous administrator. Look at this, one after one. Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that, in many cases, they're murderers, they're drug lords.
Drug lords. I'm curious, who even are these people? Are these like criminal, illegal alien arrested, convicted of sexual assault and sodomy of a girl under the age of 13 and procuring a child for prostitution? What is the name? Is his name criminal, illegal alien arrested? Is that his name? Are they just pictures? I wonder if these are even real people, or if they're just AI generated. Because like this isn't a mugshot, right? It looks like this dude's just like in a room. Oh wait, true. It's like the fuck, hold on. Is it this one? Fuck. What's the spooky brain rot song? It should be easy to find this. What? Okay, hold on. Spooky brain rot meme song. How is it hard to find this? It's this song. Wait. But it's got another song. Whatever, I don't care. He's doing the brain rot meme thing. I don't care.
Drug dealers, they're the mentally insane. There's some of them who are brutal killers, they're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane. These are just in Minnesota. California, it's worse. In other states, it's worse. Now, Minnesota, the crime is incredible. The financial crimes are incredible. And the problem is because of the agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, troublemakers, but they're paid agitators and insurrectionists.
Any proof for that, retard? Any proof for that they're paid? Who's paying them? We've said this for 10 years. Who's paying them? Hello?
Nobody talks about the fact that $19 billion at a minimum is missing in Minnesota, given to a large degree by Somalians. They've taken it. Somalians, can you imagine?
Can you
And they
imagine?
don't do it. A lot of very low IQ people, they don't do it. Other people work it out, and they get them money, and they go out and buy Mercedes-Benzes, and they come from here, they have no money. They never had money. They never had a life. They never had a government. They never had a country.
Jesus
This is
Christ.
basically no country.
Christ.
Somalia is not even a country. They don't have anything that resembles a country.
Are you okay, Chief?
And if it is a country, it's considered just about the worst in the world. They come here and they become rich and they don't have a job.
This is the song you were thinking of? Yes, it was this one. Thank you. But too late. You missed the meme.
I was told that Ilhan Omar is worth $30 million. She never had a job. She's a crooked congressman.
You were told? Like, did you do any research on that, or are you literally just repeating shit you saw on your own social media platform? You retarded fuck!
Here's another one. And I have, oh, by the way, we just took out, these are all what ICE is doing.
Also, I ordered the package I picked up yesterday. I don't know why I was putting this in my room. I'm a fucking retard. 3 feet is a very short distance. I ordered 3 feet cables because I'm like, I don't want extra cable. I don't think these are gonna fucking reach anything. 5 feet, okay. If you're connecting anything in the back of your computer. Fuck! We'll
And
figure it
it's
out.
a dangerous job. These
I'll
are
figure it
rough. These are rough people.
Yeah?
Weapons.
Weapons?
This one here is very bad.
That one? What did he? Why that one? What?
This one here is very bad.
What did he do? Aggravated assault with a weapon. What? It very bad? Like him especially? What happened?
I'm going through this because I think we have plenty of time. I'm going to
You don't have anything else to do?
this beautiful place in Switzerland where we'll be, I'm sure I'm very happily awaited for.
Wow.
In Switzerland, they don't know about this. They don't have this problem. They
They don't have crime?
problems, but
They don't have crime in
this problem.
Switzerland?
Look,
What switch is this? An overly expensive. It's a Unify XG6 PoE. Now, the problem was some retard in chat recommended this because they're like, oh, this will power your cameras because it's PoE plus. But what he didn't know was I actually needed PoE, or no, I'm sorry. This is PoE plus plus. But what I actually needed for my cameras was PoE plus plus plus. What a fucking retard. So I just have the $600 switch for nothing. But now I'm going to use it because I can use it because I'm using NDI more.
killed somebody.
Killed somebody.
And these are rough people. These are not. This was all allowed into our
That's a layer 3 switch, by the way, not unmanaged. Are you sure? Can't you put it in unmanaged mode?
country through open borders. These dumbest policies. You know, men and women's.
A $50 Cisco switch will do the same shit? First of all, these are 10 gigabit per second ports, or at least some of them are. Secondly, a $50 switch is not giving you PoE++ at every port. Not that I need it, but...
Sports is dumb. But to me, having an open border for the world to come in, drug dealers and prisoners. Venezuela, as an example, opened their prisons into the United States. That's why one of the reasons I felt so strongly against Venezuela. Now I'm loving Venezuela. They've been working with us so well. It's been so nice.
After you invaded them and...
Unbelievably nice woman also did a very incredible thing, as you know, a few days ago. We're talking to her, and maybe we can get her involved.
Make sure PoE is off for regular devices. You could fry them. It must automatically negotiate that. I don't believe that that's a manual toggle. There's no world where that's the case.
Way I'd love to be able to do that. Maria, maybe we can do that. But we're dealing with the people and the president and all of the people in Venezuela, and we've been doing great. The oil companies are getting ready to make massive investments there. They have
Oh, yeah?
Oil and even Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah?
There you go. These are real. These are rough. This is all Minnesota, every one of them. This is one state out of many.
One out of many.
And these people,
I wonder why these are all from Minnesota. Why are we fixating on Minnesota?
Let's see. Yeah, these are all, so far, people that came from outside of the country. They were allowed in by
Democrats?
Sleepy Joe Biden, Crooked
Yeah.
Joe Biden.
All of them
whichever
were?
You like. You can call him whatever you like. They're both right. He's sleepy and he's crooked. He was the worst president we've ever had. And we've had some bad ones, too. I can tell you, all you have to do is look at trade.
Yeah. How does trade tell us, Trump? How does trade tell us?
You're not getting bored with this, right?
No, we're good. We're good. We love this.
But these are people that you have to see. Strong arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon,
Wow.
and many other crimes.
Strong arm rape. What is...
Many other crimes.
What does strong arm rape mean? Like you're holding them down? Damn.
Gang member, known as one of the toughest people around.
One of the toughest known MS-13 gang member.
These are tough people.
Wow, tough.
So this is what the people are trying to protect.
Yeah? That's
Because
crazy, man.
All ICE wants to do is get them out of our country.
True.
Bring them to prisons and jails and mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a, loser.
What a
lightweight.
loser. Don
I saw
Lemon?
him, the way he walked in that church, it was terrible.
Wow.
I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did
Was
in that
criminal.
church was horrible.
It was
Yes,
criminal.
Look at this again. 24 convictions.
What?
24 times.
24 convictions.
They're not charges. These are convictions.
Wow.
So he comes from outside the country. Do you think he's going to be good here? He's convicted 24 times. He's going to be
Yeah.
good here, right?
He's black
Doesn't work that way.
and convicted.
He's a man murderer. It's one of many.
A man murder. 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 What? Nothing else? Just murder. Okay. Days?
One of many. All they want to do is get him out. They want to take him out of our country. And we're met with paid agitators and
Paid.
insurrectionists,
Oh, my God.
troublemakers. They're paid. You know, when the woman was shot, and I felt terribly about that. And I understand both sides of it.
Yeah.
But when she was shot,
I clapped.
there was another woman that was screaming shame, 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 right? You saw it. So loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like a professional opera singer. She was so loud and so professional. She wasn't a woman that was hurt.
Okay. If this switch is managed, then when I plug this into my router, it's going to have to like recognize it and DHCP it and all that bullshit, right? I should plug this into the router, then I should plug both computers into the... I'm just trying to think I'm going to have to turn my stream off all the way. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Oh,
Like,
never mind. Don't mind me.
Oh, my heart's injured. She was a professional. She's shame, shame. She's screaming shame, shame. I said, that's not a normal person. That's a professional.
Oh,
These are
professional.
agitators,
Professional.
professional people that want to see our country do badly. But that's not happening because we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, despite this stuff.
True.
Look at this.
Hot, hot.
All top of the line criminals. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be well behaved here. I could do thousands. We had over 3,000 in the last fairly short while. Just in Minnesota. What's the number, Carol? 10,000.
10,000 criminals arrested in Minnesota alone.
10,000 criminals. And these are serious criminals. Now, how can a place with 10,000 criminals, how can you have a state? And yet they're fighting us. Yeah, I like that guy. Keeps nodding to me. Do you agree with me, I guess? I like him. I don't know who he is, but I like him.
Oh, that's fucking epic, bro. That's epic, bro. Good for you, man.
He's nodding. He says, you're right. He's obviously a little on the right side, maybe. Look. These are rough ones. We just took this off a stack. we have many stacks like this, like I could go 30 times. what
Me
I'm
too,
showing you
Trump. Me
now.
too.
Relations with Hezbollah, that's nice.
Not good.
Why do we allow them in our country?
True.
Hmm.
Hmm?
I'm just looking at these charges. It's just pretty incredible. Many murderers, many murderers.
Many.
People that murdered.
Oh. That's what he means by murderers.
So what ICE does, and Border Patrol is incredible, too. I mean, Paul Perez and that group is incredible. Mostly Hispanic, by the way. They're like 60% Hispanic. You know, they talk about Hispanic. They're mostly Hispanic, right?
What does that have to do with anything?
And they're unbelievable people. And then they say, oh, we discriminate against. I love Hispanic. Unbelievable. Entrepreneurial. They have everything. I did great. I did the highest. Nobody ever got numbers like I got from the standpoint of being a Republican. But even if you look at Texas, I won the entire border along Texas, between Texas and Mexico. It never happened before. Nobody's ever done that before. I did it. As a Republican, I did it. I love the Hispanic. And they accuse us of all sorts of things. 60% of the people we're talking about, they're the best people we have, and they're Hispanic. The Border Patrol is largely Hispanic. ICE is largely Hispanic. They're unbelievable people. I don't know how they can take the abuse. They're taking rough people like this, like all of them. We have 10,000 at least. I could have done 10,000 of them. You're lucky I only did like 100. And this isn't even the worst of the group. They have murder.
Stop fucking doing that. You're making me think I'm unplugging something. What are you talking about? Do you think I need to download some software to configure this via USB? Because nothing's popping up on my computer.
They have some people we can't use their picture for legal reasons, but they're up for murder in their own country, and we jeopardize their case. When we send them back, and we coordinate with other countries. A tremendous amount of work. All allowed in here by an open border policy of the worst president in the history of our country. A man that didn't win the election, by the way, it was a rigged election. Everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. So I just want you to know that it's a terrible thing.
It's a terrible.
Here's the book on accomplishments. And this is something, ooh, I'm glad my
You have to go to its IP, retard. I plugged it in via USB, retard. If I unplug my Ethernet cable, my stream is going to die.
finger wasn't in that sucker.
You need to make an account with Unify and then log into the router's IP address. There is no world where that is true. Is that true? Shut up.
I could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you didn't. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this.
Look at this,
They're
guys.
each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's
What?
big stuff, too.
Wow. Look at
We have the
that.
hottest country in the world.
Wow. What is he even doing?
I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world. So, I will read you a few. We ended Biden's stagflation. We were in stagflation. That's a disaster. That's far worse than inflation.
Okay.
As you know, he had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years. Pick your choice. But they had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. We have it right down to a normal number now. We're going to get it even a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Created super high.
The normal number now.
What we've done with growth is incredible. We created super high economic growth, and America is booming. It's booming. There are thousands of businesses right now that are being built. Many of the biggest factories in the world are being built right in our country. They're not going to other countries. They're leaving other countries. Fourth quarter GDP is on track to pass perhaps much more than...
Why does your chat always shit on anyone who talks positively about you? How did you cultivate such an audience? It's because we have destiny derangement syndrome, where they try to signal how much they're not circle jerkers, and they do it by being anti-jerkers.
5% growth, and that's despite the fact that we had a Democrat shutdown. They shut down our country.
I'm going to risk a ban to say you probably can't use USB, but must use a configuration port. Why would that be risking a ban? Why are you acting like I would ban you for something that there is no world where I would ban you for saying that. Why would you? The fact that you preface that message with not to risk a ban, kill your in a video game. I'm just seeing if I can do it via USB. If I can't, I could grab my laptop. Actually, I can just do that.
And we had 5%. Nobody's in
I should ban
room has
that
ever
guy.
heard about 5%. I think it could be 20% if we do it right. If we don't, every time we have good numbers, they raise interest rates. It shouldn't. In the old
Manage your
days, they get good
unified
numbers,
network
they'd lower
server.
interest
Do I
rates.
care about
They
any
wouldn't
of this?
anything.
Do you
They
have
always
to
try
do
and kill
this?
it. They always try and kill success. Over the
I just
last
wanna
20, 25 years.
put the
it's
Ethernet
way-
cable in the
old
port.
Days, if you had good numbers, the market would go through the roof. Today, if you have good numbers, the market goes down. But by the way, we've had the best stock market in history, the best 401ks in history, and we inherited a mess. The numbers that we inherited were way up, and now we brought them, almost all of them, way down. We brought them way down. I mean, I'm not getting. Maybe I have the bad public relations people, but we're not getting it across. We inherited high numbers, and we brought them way down. And look at gasoline. They have places in the country now, $1.99 a gallon. $1.99, $2.30, $2.50. I guess the average now they're saying is $2.31. I mean, he was at $4.50 and $5 for periods of time. And he went back to the Trump formula, but he didn't do it properly, and he really went back to parts of it because you would have had $8 gasoline if they didn't. But he didn't do it properly. He had people that didn't know what they were doing. Core inflation for the last 3 months is 1.6%. 1.6. Their core inflation was so high that nobody could even calculate it. Under Biden, real incomes declined $3,000. Think of that, $3,000. That's a year.
Okay.
In 12 months, Trump real incomes went up by $2,000 and $3,000 and even in some cases $5,000. It's a tremendous difference. Stock market has set 52 all-time record highs during the course of the 11 months, because this was done on 11 months. Now we are actually officially 12 months as
Wow.
of today. 52 all-time record highs. That means 401ks did great. I have people see me all the time, policemen that guard us really well, and got to know them a little bit. And they said, "Sir, you're making me look so good. My 401k is through the roof. My wife thinks I'm the greatest genius, that I'm a financial genius, like Warren Buffett." He told me that. He said, I think they have better returns than Warren Buffett right now. But he said, all my life my wife has been criticizing me for not being smart financially. Now all of a sudden she loves me more. But we added $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, saving many people. I mean, they were going out of business. Think of it. We added $9 trillion of value to retirement accounts, savings accounts, and 401ks. That's during the course of 12 months. And I think it's probably 11 months because I don't think they have it for the 12. They have it for the 11. Added $9 trillion of value.
Damn.
Lifted more than 1.2 million Americans off food stamps in 1 year. They would have had another 1.2 million. We would have had, welfare would have gone up, And instead of investing $18 trillion in our country, now it's probably more than that, but $18 trillion and having thousands of plants being built all over the country, you would have had thousands of plants closing all over the country.
Yep. Thousands.
And you would have had disinvestment.
Yep.
And you would have had welfare
Yep.
going way up.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you look at Snap, take a look at Snap, what happened with that? It was at $7 billion and it came out to over $51 billion. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. The past administration, they had no clue. Or they were really bad, but they basically had no clue. But they did have a concept. I mean, they're still trying to sell the idea of men playing in women's sports. You saw that in the Supreme Court. I mean, some of those justices were fighting for them, too. They were fighting for them. But you saw that just the other day in the Supreme Court. Men playing in women's sports doesn't work. Secured a record-breaking $18 trillion in commitments for new investments. Apple, NVIDIA, SoftBank, Oracle, TSMC, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly and Company, Micron, AstraZeneca, General Motors, Hyundai, Ford, Honda, GE Aerospace, many, many others. I left a Ford plant a week ago in Michigan that they were going to close.
Where that guy said "fuck
2
you"?
years ago.
Called you a
and now they
pedophile?
just
That one?
announced that they're going 24 hours around the clock making cars.
That's crazy.
Terrorists did it. I don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. I think to me it reads so plainly. Couldn't.
By the way, how fucking insane. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, you know, like a judge is corrupt, a judge is what, I mean, you really should never be saying this ever. But, what? Over 1,600 times, judges have unconstitutionally and unlawfully ordered the release of illegal aliens. No democracy can function this way. So are all the judges bad? Is it like, hello? At what point are we like,
Be plainer. You're allowed to do a license. Tariff is probably less severe than what a license could be. But think of it. You're allowed to do a license, and then they have a clause at the end, something to the effect, or what is necessary, something to that effect. And what is necessary with tariffs. I don't know where there's a case even there, but we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, and if we lose that case, it's possible we're going to have to
pay
do
it?
the best we can in paying it back.
Paying it back to who? Is there some crazy fucked up world where Trump loses the tariff case and then it's $200 billion that they would have to pay back? That would go back to the American public. Where Trump says, stimulus time, baby. $200 billion of stimulus.
I don't know how that's going to be done very easily without hurting a lot of people. But we're waiting for that case anxiously, and we have tremendous national security because of tariffs and tremendous income. You know, we have, and by the way, no inflation.
None.
So everyone said, oh, tariffs will cause inflation. We have no inflation. We have very little inflation. Biden had inflation, and he didn't do tariffs. We had a huge problem. We have a 62% reduction in our trade deficit. So if you had a 1% reduction, a normal president would have a 1%, 2% reduction. Everybody would be high-fiving. Had a 62% reduction. Next year, we won't have a trade deficit. We secured most favored nations agreements to slash drug prices by as much. And to me, I think this might be the biggest thing of all. We get zero talk about it. The New York Times had a story way in the back of the paper, a little story about it. I think it's the biggest thing there is when you talk about health care. Drug prices will go down more than ever before for any country because we were priced at such
He was
a
going to
level-
say it. We was kangs.
a country because we were priced at such a level that we were subsidizing the entire world, big place in the world. We were paying 10, 12, 13 times more than other countries. 13 times more, not 13%, 13 times more. A pill that was selling in London for for $10 would sell in New York for $130. That's 13 times. More than that even. But we secured most favored nations agreements to slash drug prices by as much as 300, 400, 500, and even 600%, including with Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Nova Nordisk, Gilead Sciences, EMD, Serenio, and many others.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at some of the prices that are coming down, where a price would come down $1,300 coming down to $87. Think of it. So something that was costing $1,300 is now costing $87. And the fake news doesn't want to write about it. That's why I do this. I don't like to do this, to be honest with you. But I do it because got to get the word out. We signed one big, beautiful bill. I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill, delivering the largest tax cuts in history. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. We made interest on car loans tax deductible for U.S.-built automobiles only. So if you buy an automobile built in the United States, we're not doing it for Germany and Canada and different places. We're doing it only if it's built here. We want them to be built here. A lot of the Canadian auto plants are closing and they're moving into the United States. Same thing with Mexico, same thing with Germany, and same thing with Japan and other countries. They're moving into the United States because of tariffs. Because they don't want to pay the tariffs. It's too much. They can't pay the tariffs. So they're coming here. Nothing different than what other smart countries did. But it works better for us under my leadership. It's not done properly, but it's done properly. We have, again, more plants being built than at any time in the history of our country. Passed the largest spending cuts in American history, and that was true in my first. We had a tremendous first term also. We rebuilt our military. We had one of the best. We had the best economy in the history of our country, but we're blowing it away now. When this stuff starts opening up, you're not going to see anything like
It doesn't matter where I plug the internet into. I can just plug the internet. I've got ports 1 through 4. I just plug the internet into whatever port, and then the computer's into whatever other ports. It doesn't matter, I'm guessing.
like it probably ever again. We slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in a single year. Think of that, 27. You could do it 2%, 1%, 0.5%, 27%. And that's with all of the things we have to do, all of the people we have to put on the payroll to get rid of people that are murderers.
Wow.
Again, when you see people in Minnesota that are murderers, these people are fighting to keep them there. And I say
That's crazy,
to
chap.
Christie and to Tom Homan, the great people, they're working so hard. Look at the border. The border is now secure. First time, Biden said you couldn't do it. You need legislation. I had no legislation. I said close the border.
He said, I don't give a fuck. I don't need Congress to do anything.
Almost nobody coming in. Now for the last 8 months, nobody came into our country.
Not even one. Not even
And I
a
find that
single.
hard to believe because you
illegal
think
immigrant.
somebody, because it used to
think at
be
least one
millions
would.
of people just poured into our country.
Not even one.
And the people that do that are Democrat, sort of aligned.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're not doing me any favors. We had nobody come in, and we have a very strong border. We have very few people coming up. They're not going to make the trek because they know they probably won't be coming in, so it's not as hard as you think. But I didn't have to go back. Remember they said, we need legislation.
WAN is meant for your modem connection. I don't think I have a WAN port on this. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. I'm just going to plug shit in. It'll work.
Close the border. They
It'll
had
work.
Millions of people coming in a month. We have nobody coming in, and we're getting the murderers out. Murderers,
Yes. Drug dealers,
people from prisons,
rapists,
jails.
thieves.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped
And
them
insane
into the
asylums.
United States. Those are the people we're getting out. And we have a lot of heart. They said, you gotta lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working
Oh,
in
the farmer
luncheonettes
illegals.
and hotels.
Those in the hotel, those ones are okay.
We're not looking, we're looking to get the criminals out right now. the
Okay.
criminals. And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody, he should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory, they should be, but we're focused on the murderers, the
Oh,
drug dealers,
now they are.
mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. I mean, you can't even talk to them. be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of countries where they were loaded up, their mental institutions and insane asylums were loaded to the gills. They couldn't get, they're empty now.
Wow.
But they're filling up because we're bringing them all back. We know where they came from. And every country accepts them. You know, under Biden, they wouldn't say, they had so little respect that they'd bring them there and they wouldn't take them. They say, get the hell out of here. They would be bringing a plane in to land in a country and they'd put 5 planes on the runway so you couldn't land the plane.
Serious question. Is this real or am I being bamboozled? Usually, for the AI stuff, if you look in the background, that's usually where the details are. So, like, look back here. See how there's like a random thing flying above this guy's head? That's how you can usually tell these are not real videos. See? Like, what is that? It's like weird AI artifacting shit. You can also use context clues sometimes as well. It's like 2 trash cans right next to each other. Why is there an outlet on the wall here in front of the counter? Like, doesn't make sense, you know? Yeah.
So they'd come back with the people that they were bringing back. They don't do that with me. They do that with me. They have problems. They don't do it. They accept them back. They're not happy about it, but they accept them back. Cut a record number of
He's still
regulations. I
talking
promised
right now?
eliminate 10 old
This
regulations.
goes on for another hour, 20 minutes. He's still live? What is he talking about?
For every one new regulation. Instead, we cut 129 old regulations for each one edit. Think of that. I went to do 10. My first 4 years I did, when we put on a new regulation, you had to cut 8. This year I said you have to cut 10.
Huh.
Instead, we cut 129. So every time, so far, can't remain like that, I don't imagine. I hope it can. Because we have so much wasted regulation, stupid regulations.
True.
Regulations where they go by California, which is a disaster state, with a governor that truly is doing a bad job. He's killing that state. If he ever ran the country, this country would be Venezuela.
Wow.
Very quickly. Using tariffs slash the U.S. trade deficit by an incredible 77%. The trade deficit is down, and that doesn't include the last month where we had our best month. We slashed the trade deficit by an incredible 77% in 1 year with no inflation, something that everyone said could not be done. So we had essentially no inflation. In fact, the last month we had almost no inflation. But we slashed the trade deficit by 77%. If you slashed it by 1%, that was good. Again, we did that with tariffs and intelligence. We did that with November 5th, great election. We secured historic trade deals to reduce barriers on U.S. exports with countries covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Think of that. American exports are up by more than $150 billion this year. People said, oh, we're not exporting. All we do is buy. If you keep buying, you're not going to have a country for very long. So we increased exports by more than $150 billion. Investment in American factories is up 41%. That's a record.
Is this just repeating the same talking points for an hour that we've heard like for 10 years, or is it?
Goes 41% up. You go 2% up, 1% up. You go down by 3%.
It's not hard to keep the weave going if he repeats every fucking deranged lie about 10 times. Yeah, seriously, Jesus.
If Kamala got elected, the 41% up would be 41% down. We removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payroll. That's another thing. So we have, we announced our unemployment numbers, call it unemployment or employment, and they were very good. But we could make them great. But we've slashed tremendous numbers of people off the federal payroll. Because ultimately, if you're on the federal payroll, I mean, we have jobs where there are 10 people for every job.
Wow.
So we cut. Now, if you want to see some good numbers, I'll
10
hire
people
a
for
million people.
every
We cut
one
millions
job.
of people off the federal payroll. I don't like doing that, but the good news, I don't feel badly because they're getting private sector jobs, and they're getting sometimes twice as much money, 3 times as much money. They're getting factory jobs. They're getting much better jobs and much higher pay. But all I have to do is say, like, what the Democrats do all the time. They hire 1 million people, and then they hire another million, and they load it up, and it says, oh, they only have a 3% unemployment rate. It's a fake rate. So with us, we're proud of the fact that we cut so many because, again, I don't want to cut people. But when you cut them and they go out and get a better job, I like to cut them. And sometimes they have to be forced to do that because, it's like they want to stay where they are. They don't know. And then all of a sudden they end up, we have many cases, Caroline, where people were devastated. They hated Trump. I got caught from my very boring federal job where they had, again, sometimes 10 people to do one job. And they were very upset. And now they ended up with a job where they get paid 3 times more money. They're ending up buying houses. It's like crazy. So they went from not liking me to liking me a lot because it's hard to get. We need people. We need people. It's one of the reasons. I mean, I want to when you have good people in the farm or good people in hotels and everything else, we want to work with them as much as we can. Under Biden, 1 out of 4 jobs added was a government job. Think of that. So 25% of the jobs added. That's when you know that, that's 25% of the jobs aren't real jobs. But again, I could do that. I could add 2 million jobs right now. Would have I could say just hire some more people. I do the opposite. I say get rid of everybody that's unnecessary, because that's the way you make America great again. When you have all these jobs where people are sitting around doing nothing and they get a lot of money by the government.
Yeah.
Good. But that's what the Democrats do. They show, we were at 4% unemployment. That's a good number. But they just add jobs, or they would never cut jobs. Under Trump,
Somebody should make like a
100%
movie or just like a video or a skit or whatever, like the world according to conservatives. So you're walking around, there are mansions, all of them are inhabited by single moms because they make so much money in alimony and divorce, and they take all the homes from the hardworking dads. You've got these immigrant communities where everybody's driving an Escalade, everybody's loaded with government welfare. You've got the poor, impoverished people working in the private sector. So you've got your poors working for like Amazon, Google, whatever. And then you've got your incredibly wealthy people working for the government, the people at the DMV that are making bank, that are showing off their flashy watches and their huge mansions and
jobs created have been in the private sector. Think of that. Not 1% has gone to federal. So under Biden, 1 out of 4 was a government job. Under Trump, 100% of the new jobs created, 100% came from the private sector. That's how you make your country wealthy and strong and good. We inherited the worst border in history and turned it into the strongest border in history. Illegal crossings have plummeted to the lowest level ever recorded, down 99.999%.
Wait, I thought he said it was 0 people coming through. So wouldn't it be down 100%? Or was he lying about that? Because if he said 99.999%, if there were 10 million people coming through a year, or however much they fucking say, would that still be 1,000 people or 100 people? I don't know. Who knows? Oh.
That means down 100%. 99.999. We want to find out who that one person is. For 8 months in a row, 0, and these are government numbers, these are not my numbers.
Oh,
For 8 months in a row,
them now?
0 illegal aliens were admitted to our country. 0. Nobody came in. Unless they came in.
Also, excuse me. These are government numbers, not my numbers. Motherfucker, you are the government. You are the president of the United States. What the fuck does that even mean?
Illegally. We have a big process for having people come in legally, by the way. A lot of people are coming in legally. They have to prove they love our country. They have to prove that they're not going to need welfare. A lot of things they have to prove. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration, where because we're getting all of these illegal people out. People that came in illegally, in many cases they're criminals, in many, many cases. Remember when they used to say that the people that come into our country as immigrants are very nice people, they're wonderful people, they don't commit crime. No, they make our criminals look like babies. They make our Hells Angels look like the sweetest people on earth. The Hells Angels are now considered a nice, high-quality person. I like the Hells Angels, they voted for me. They protected me, actually, believe it or not. But they make our criminals look like babies. These are some of the most vicious people anywhere in the world. They came from the Congo. The prisons, I know the Congo because I ended the war with the Congo and Rwanda. Tough group, very tough group. They came from prisons in the Congo. Some of the toughest, meanest people you'll ever meet. Thank you very much. They allowed them to come into America.
Thank you.
These are tough people. Before my election, 100% of net job creation was going to foreign migrants. Since my inauguration, 100% of the net jobs created have gone to American-born citizens.
What does that even mean? Nobody tracks these numbers. And there's no way that number is true. How 100% of the job growth has gone to people born in America? Does anybody even track that? I don't believe that number. Well, obviously. And it's 100%. He doesn't even try to lie.
That's a big thing. In other words, we're now taking care of our people. 100% of net jobs created have gone to the American-born people. Before that, we didn't care. Designated Tren de Aragua, MS-13, and the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and we've hit them hard. You've seen what we've done on the water. We're starting to do that on land. The land is much easier, actually. Water is incredible. We did that on the water so that when you do it on the land, they don't go to the water. Nobody's going into the boat business right now, I can tell you. 97% down drugs coming in by water. 97%. Nobody ever heard of that before. They heard 2%, 1%. It went up 2%. 97, and we're looking for the 3%. Who the hell are the 3%? They're crazy. But we've taken out
Good meme, sir.
almost 100% of the drugs coming in by water. Now we're going to be very shortly starting drugs coming in by land. We know exactly where they're coming from. Removed tens of thousands of illegal alien gang members, drug dealers, murderers, child predators, human traffickers, fraudsters, savage criminals, and others. We removed them from our country. They're out. They're gone. In some cases, they're so dangerous that we put them in jail because we don't want to give them to their country doesn't do anything, and they end up coming back. We have some that they're so bad that we don't want to really release them. We want to put them in a jail where we know they're properly ensconced.
Who made that argument before? Hold on. Don't mind me. Fuck, I can't link a current time in a live stream.
Removed them from our country. She doesn't in a jail where we know they're properly ensconced. Think of that. Remove tens of thousands of illegal alien gang members, drug dealers, murderers, child predators, human traffickers, fraudsters, and savage criminals. Why would you want them removed? The reason is because these are insurrectionists that are doing this work. And, you know, they're going to make mistakes sometimes. ICE is going to be too rough with somebody, or, you know, they deal with rough people. They're going to make a mistake. Sometimes it can happen. We feel terribly. I felt horribly when I was told that the young woman who was had a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. Everybody would say, ICE would say the same thing. But when I learned her parents, and her father in particular, I hope he still is, but I don't know, was a tremendous Trump fan. He was all for Trump, loved Trump. And, you know, it's terrible. I was told that by a lot of people. They said, oh, he loves you. He was I hope he still feels that way. I don't know. It's a hard situation. But her father was a tremendous, and parents were tremendous Trump fans. It's so sad. It just happens. It's terrible. Halted all refugee admissions to the United States, including from Somalia, which is a terrible, terrible place, another dangerous place. And we also stopped the pirates because they get the same treatment as the drug boats. So in Somalia, the Somalians, you know what they're good at? That's about the only thing.
Can you please turn up the video? No! Everything is too quiet on the internet. I don't know what... Or you guys mind-fucked me into thinking that my shit was too quiet. Everything on the internet... Here, I don't know. You guys click this video. Is it quiet to you? Because you guys want my mic in the yellows, and it's in the yellows. But now everything on the internet is just quiet. There.
The thing they're good at is they're good at pirating ships.
This is like barely in the... His voice is barely in the acceptable range. What do you want me to say?
Big ships. So you have a huge oil tanker with millions of gallons, millions of barrels of oil, and if it gets hit by a big weapon, the whole thing blows up. And they don't want to fight, because if they do, they're told by their insurance companies, do not hand over the ship. And they're not allowed to have any guns on the ship. They're literally, you have these massive ships being taken over by a Somalian small boat with a big weapon. Because if they hit the side of the ship can blow up. I mean, you talk about a blow up. Bad. We've seen some bad things happen. And the insurance companies, some of these ships cost more than $1 billion to build. And the insurance companies say, look, we'd rather give them money than take a chance on $1 billion insurance policy. But they don't have to worry about it, because we hit them the same way we hit the people with the drugs in their boat. They don't know what the hell happened. But all of a sudden, there are no pirates at sea. Do you notice? We haven't had a boat taken in a little while. Came out of Somalia, really corrupt place. It's not a country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. I always hate to see this. Ilhan Omar, she comes from Somalia, a backward country, probably the worst country. They say it's the worst country in the world, if it's a country. I don't even think it's a country. There's no organization on it. They don't have police. They don't have military. They don't have anything. They just have people running around killing each other and trying to pirate ships. But she'll come here. And then she wants to tell us how to run our country. The Constitution says that I am entitled to this. I can't stand there. Terminated all taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens and kicked 275,000 illegals off of Social Security. They were illegally getting Social Security. 275,000 people. I'm telling you, it's not that this is pleasurable, but if I weren't elected president, this country was going to be destroyed quickly, very quickly. I think within a year, if you had Kamala or a Joe type. I mean, Joe was a disaster, but if you had Kamala, he was the replacement. I was up by like 25 points on Joe, and they said, hey, let's get somebody else. This never happened. Well, I had so many firsts. You're leading somebody by a lot. And they say, oh, let's take him out, let's put somebody. That's like I said to Dana White the other night. I said, you know, Dana, it's like you have a fighter, two fighters, one guy's winning by a lot. And they say, oh, let's take this guy out, let's put a new fighter in the ring with him. That's what happened to me. I was doing great with Biden. The whole campaign was against Biden. All the money was spent against Biden, and all of a sudden I got Kamala. Everyone said, who the hell is she? But that didn't work out too well for them, but never happened before. We are about lots of firsts. Designated English as the official language of the United States of America. We did that very powerfully.
Powerfully.
And while we're at it, we also took the Gulf of Mexico, and now it's the Gulf of America. Because we have 92% of the shoreline. It always bothered me. I'd say, you know, we have most of the shoreline. Mexico has a small percentage. It talks about 8%. We have 92%. And I said, why is it the Gulf of Mexico? It should be the Gulf of America. I was going to call it the Gulf of Trump, but I thought that I would be killed if I did that. I wanted to do that. I wanted to. My people worked so hard. Sir, I don't think it'll look too good. I'm telling you, it's a good thing. And it'll be hotter than ever. I said, no, but I decided not to do that. I'm joking, you know, when I say that. I was not going to call it the Gulf of Trump. Because tomorrow it'll be, Trump wanted to call it the Gulf of Trump, but he was rebuffed by his people. My people don't rebuff me too much. The Gulf of Trump, that does have a good ring, though. Maybe we could do that. It's not too late. No, we have the Gulf of America now. It's great. Our country is proud for the attack on Venezuela, the attack on the Iran nuclear capability, wiped it out. I mean, first administration, Soleimani, the father of the roadside bomb, al-Baghdadi, the father of ISIS, who was rebuilding ISIS. We wiped them out. Done a great job. Signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for children of illegal migrants. You know, that case is in court right now. That case was meant for the children of slaves. All you have to do is look at the years. Look at the years where the cases were filed and where the decisions were made. They were right at the end of the Civil War. They're trying to say that, you know, China's making a big business out of that. They come to the country, they have a child, they're American citizen, they get all the benefits. It had nothing to do with that. That was for the children of slaves. And I hope the Supreme Court so rules. Designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. It is. We lost, I believe, 300,000 people this year. 300,000 people. That's like filling up one of those big football stadiums 5 times. It's not even believable. I mean, you could be in a war and you wouldn't lose that many people. So we designated fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. Conducted numerous successful military strikes against narco-terrorists operating in our hemisphere, including the water strikes. Drugs brought in by ocean. So I told you that we're down by, I mean, close to 100%. It's hard to get somebody to pilot those boats. Very hard. They have to be people that don't watch television, don't read the news. And we just blew up their facility. They had a docking facility where the drugs were stored. And now we have a great relationship with Venezuela. We're getting along fantastically with the leadership in Venezuela, so we wouldn't have to do that. This was done before the attack. But we captured and brought to justice the outlaw dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, who, through drugs, killed millions of people in our country. Tremendous drug dealer. Also sent millions of people into our country, including Tren de Aragua, the worst gang. They say it's the worst gang in the world. They took over parts of Colorado. They just take the apartment building. They just took it away. Just took it away like we're here. They cut the hand off one man because he called the police. Who called the police? I did. You took my apartment from me. Boom, no hand. This is what.
Got him. Okay. I'm going to swap all my Ethernet cables, and I'm going to pray that everything... Wait, the audio in the video you linked is way louder than yours. You can hear the background noise, which through your stream is barely noticeable.
They sent us. Restoring law and order, new category. D.C. and Memphis, federal task forces deployed massive numbers of federal law enforcement officers and National Guard to restore safety. Crime down in D.C. is almost down to nothing. D.C. was a very, very dangerous place, and I think you probably know better than I do. I have a lot of people in the media thanked me for that, but some of them found it hard.
Friendships, there's a bunch of
different. Now, look how beautiful. D.C. is now, you can walk right from here to
This
a
is not
restaurant,
Destiny.
right through the center of town. You can be with your child, with your loved one, with your lover. Your lover's not going to be killed anymore, so you can act like a real lover. But you can walk right through the middle of the town. Federal task forces deployed massive numbers of federal law enforcement officers and National Guard to restore safety. Crime down in D.C. is almost down to nothing. You notice we took all the fences down?
No, fuck you. It's like the same volume. Fuck you. Stop. You're trolling me.
Almost all the rest are coming down.
Your mic is louder than the video? No, I know my mic is louder than the video. But that's because the video is quiet. And because you're a fucking nerd. Candy Sweet. Candy spelled incorrectly. C-A-N-D-E-E in YouTube chat. You are a fucking nerd. I don't have any good nerd soundboard things.
We got the graffiti all off. National Guard's been amazing. You know, we didn't tell them to do that. That's not their job description. But they were picking up garbage and everything. They were great. And I don't know, to me, a town, it looks better when you have military people. These are big, strong guys, are bad guys. Look at them and they say, we're not going to mess around. But what they don't know is that we took over 2,000 people out, permanently out of D.C. These were career criminals.
Career criminals. Okay. If my stream goes offline, I'm ending it. I'm ending it in a video game. So this shit better recognize everything fast. Or I'm gonna be hella mad. Hella mad. All right. Good luck. See you on the other side, YouTubers and streamer people. Who, what? No shot. Wait, did that really work that quickly? Am I live? You're lucky. Wait, my mouse without borders isn't working. Hold on. Refresh. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Criminals. But I feel much better seeing those
Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead to the question. Wait, are we on questions? Is he responding to a question or?
people there. I went in a couple of times and had dinner in D.C. I walked right down the middle of the street. I felt very safe. A year ago, I couldn't have done that. I would have been crazy to have done that. But this just began the process.
I'm skipping it because this is fucking boring as fuck. Holy shit.
Pakistan and India, they were entertainment and rescued 83 American hostages and citizens detained from abroad without paying a lot of money. Paid no money. Apprehended terrorists responsible for the Abbey Gate bombing that claimed the lives of 13 U.S. servicemen, but I was getting, which is the big military base, and deported.
Explain what the fuck is this thing even for that you're installing. So I'm transferring this monitor image from one computer to the other using a web standard for video transfer on the internet called NDI. NDI is a very low CPU footprint, high bandwidth, industry standard way of transferring video across local networks. But the problem is it consumes a lot of data. So maybe 300 megabytes per second, maybe, to transfer this image to this computer. If I'm on a switch or a router that has a maximum capacity of 1 gigabit per second. There are times where I'm hitting almost that cap, especially when I'm transferring two images back and forth. And I just, if I have a bigger switch that has a 5 gigabit per second overhead, it just helps with my local network congestion.
Pro-jihad foreign nationals got NATO members to agree to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP from 2%, and they pay the street. Terrible. Terminated the Green New Scam.
What is this? Like, what is the point of this press conference? Banned for lack of patriotism. Megabits, but yes. Oh, you're right, megabits, my bad. Fuck you. That's a ban. Don't well actually me here.
The insane electric vehicle mandate. I love electric vehicles. That caused me a little problem with a man named Elon. But he understands, and he's a good guy. We get along, but I said, Elon, we can't have all electric cars. We just can't do it. I like the electric cars. I like his car. But in particular, I like his car. But we can't do that because some people don't want an electric car by 2030. And to build the power stations all over the country would have cost $4 trillion. $4 trillion, that's more than any country has. If you got China, the United States, and everyone, you couldn't do it. And it would have taken years. And yet they were supposed to be switching over electric vehicle mandate. Some people don't like electric cars. Some people want hybrids. Some people want regular gasoline-powered cars. We have more gasoline than anybody. And now with Venezuela,
we have so much gasoline.
We have 62% of the market when you include Venezuela. So I ended the Green New Scam, and I ended the insane electric vehicle mandate. Now you can buy a gasoline-powered car, a hybrid, and you can buy an electric vehicle. I mean, if you think, if you want electric, you can buy it. Make a good deal on them right now because they made a lot of them. Permanently stopped Joe Biden's ridiculous CAFE standards. That's having to do with the environment, so ridiculous. Canceled the EPA's absurd, totally absurd, tailpipe emission standard, which made you spend hundreds of thousands. It made for hundreds of thousands of cars. The cost numbers were incredible that the consumer has to pay. Imposed 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles and 100% tariff on Chinese cars which don't come into the country because of tariffs. Only because of tariffs. We didn't have tariffs, you wouldn't have any car. We have now more car factories being built in the United States than ever before because of tariffs. If they take those tariffs away, China will eat our lunch.
China is, by the way, is fucking us right now. China, like, at least for the soybean shit that I was reading, China just stopped buying soybeans from us. We sold none, and they're just buying from competitors now. Also, for a pre-paper, I don't know if it's necessarily published yet yesterday, but supposedly, for a variety of reasons, so I believe that long-standing economic thought is that in the long run, consumers and exporters, importers and exporters share about a similar burden for tariffs, which is still bad. So if you get tariff $10, ideally the exporter finds a way to bring costs down $5, and then the consumer will just the importer will just eat a $5 tariff basically. Apparently with the most recent round of tariffs and with the tariffs we did in 2019 or whatever that Trump did, apparently the consumer is eating about 100% of the tariffs, that the prices for the exporters are just not changing at all, but the volume is reducing. So they're shipping less to us and just shipping more to other people. The consumer is literally eating 100% of the tariffs. It's just unbelievable. Jesus.
All of our car business. Now, There's another way of doing it, but it's more cumbersome, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to scare you, but it's much more cumbersome, not as good for national security as this. We have a perfect system right now. We're making a fortune. We've never been stronger, and I hope the Supreme Court.
Look at
does the right
that,
thing
5
for them.
gigabit per
Because they don't-
second current link speed. That's what I'm looking
It's
for,
just
baby.
so-
Hell
it's
yeah.
so sad. We're doing so well because of tariffs.
Sorry, you mean the Kiel study? 94% are paid by the customer. Good.
And the people that are heading up the lawsuit, like this guy named Leonard Leo, is bad guy. And people that are very China-oriented and foreign car-oriented and foreign business-oriented, but in particular China, they're suing to get rid of tariffs because they don't want tariffs, like Coke. Coke has businesses outside of the United States. If you have them outside, you don't want tariffs. But because of tariffs, they treat us well. Without tariffs, they would treat us very badly. As you saw for many years, they respect us more now than they ever have respected us, by a lot. And revoked the California emissions waiver to stop San Francisco communists from regulating the automobile industry and destroying automobiles and the industry in the nation. I was with Bill Ford of Ford Motors. I was with all the people at General Motors the other day, and they are making more money and building more cars than they are doing so good. All because of tariffs and what I've done. And they're building their plants all in the United States. Reopened Anwar for drilling. That's a big deal. Launched a massive Alaskan pipeline project to export natural gas to Asia. We made a deal with South Korea and with Japan that gives us money, the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. Signed executive orders to end Biden's war on coal and put, I say clean, beautiful coal. I never say the word coal. It has to be preceded by the words clean, beautiful coal. And put miners back to work. The miners love Trump. I think I got 100% of their vote.
Miners love
We banned transgenders from the military. We don't want transgender in the military. Ordered reinstatement of patriots expelled from our military with full back pay. So we had some people that were terminated, and they're coming back into our military. Fired the woke boards of visitors at our military service academies. The boards of visitors were run by radical left, maybe communists, maybe not, but they were still heavily radical left, and they were bad for us. Signed an executive order to remove anti-American propaganda from federal museums and national parks. Required the federal employees to return to work in person or be fired. We don't want them sitting in their home on their bed working. We want them in an office that we're paying for in Washington, D.C., or wherever it may be. And we've largely taken care of that mess. That was crazy. I guarantee you they're out on the ball fields. I guarantee you they're out playing golf. And you can't run a country or a company that way. I think it's happening even so with countries and companies. But we had so many of our federal workers, they wouldn't come into work. Signed an order banning all government censorship and restoring free speech. Made it the official policy.
Quick break. Software engineers and all work from homers, turn your audio off because you guys are degenerate fucking losers. Fuck you, okay? But the number one reason why they wanted people to come back to work is because managers had to justify all of the bullshit policies they have to keep you on task 24/7, not realizing that the 8 hours a day that they contract you for, you could probably do that work anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours a day, depending on the day. Maybe there are some heavy days where you actually need to work, and the work from home dream shattered that illusion from these fucking retards. There might be some companies where you can make an argument for, you know, like people coming to the office every now and then, especially on more collaborative stuff. But the arbitrary, like, come back to the office, we gotta go back to the office, guys. We gotta go back to the office. What, because you're too fucking retarded to make your webcam work on Zoom? Old man, get the fuck out of here. This is so fucking stupid.
Of the United States government that there are only 2 genders. This was not a tough one. 2 genders. Can anybody guess what they are? Male and female. I think the Democrats know that too, but they refuse to admit it.
Epic, bro.
Ban the use of puberty blockers, hormone injections, and other chemical and surgical mutilation of children. Can you imagine saying this 15 years ago? That we banned the use of puberty blockers, hormone injections, and other chemical and surgical mutilation of our children. You know, when I say it, I say, do I have to say that? I actually asked my people today, yes, sir, because people, it's where the country went. Banned men from playing in women's sports. Big Supreme Court case, and I mean, I can't believe it. Some of the justices were fighting hard for men to be able to play in women's sports. A couple of them. I can't imagine it, but I think anybody that rules that way should lose a lot of credibility. We banned men from playing in women's sports. All you have to do is look at the records. Look at weightlifting records. Look at swimming records. Look at track and field. It's not fair. It's very demeaning to women. Banned transgender ideology and critical race theory from our schools. Secured unprecedented settlements with Brown University, Columbia University, and many other colleges.
Maybe this is cope, but what are your thoughts on the arguments against work from home having to do with it increasing the likelihood that your work wants you working / available at all hours? Okay, I'm going to be honest. I've been out of the traditional work market in 20 years, but even when I was in the work market, and my job was not a job where I could ever work from home, and I was a supervisor, so maybe it was a little different, but I don't know. I feel like my job expected me to be available 24/7 anyway. No? I'm curious. I truly don't know the answer at all to this. If you work on some IT-related or software-related thing, are you kind of sort of always expected to be within phone's reach? And I don't mean like they'll fire you if you aren't, but like it's going to show up on your fucking year-end review as you not being a fucking team player, or you not being willing to come in and slurp up some bullshit because somebody missed some. Maybe not. I don't know if I don't know how it is or isn't, but at the casino we started doing this for a while, and then the manager got mad at us. But we would just, as soon as we would clock out, we would always say we started drinking immediately. Even like when day shift would go home, because you text and be like, hey, you know, Sarah didn't show up tonight. Can you come in? And like, oh, sorry, I already started drinking. LOL. And then they can't come in. We would just like text it all. But then the manager started getting fucking mad at us. Fucking Pam. You could be on call. Yeah, but I'm not saying like for a worker that's on call. I'm saying you're like 9 to 5. You're not like paid like because if you're an on-call employee, you're supposed to be paid as an on-call employee, right? If you're working 9 to 5 and you clock out at 5, if everything falls apart, fuck you. Hire somebody to do night shift then. What the fuck? But I don't know. On-call engineers are expected to be on 24/7. I'm not talking about on-call people, though. I'm talking about traditional 9 to 5 salary people.
Including the University of Pennsylvania, where I went to grade.
Obviously, if it says on-call as part of your job description, then you probably should be on-call because you're getting paid to be on-call, ideally. So,
Wharton School of Finance. To restore fairness and merit, we're working with Harvard right now. They've been very anti-Semitic. Terrible what they've done. And we'll see what happens. I hear we have a deal, but who the hell knows with them? They have a lawyer that wants to show how hot he is. Ended taxpayer-funded student loan forgiveness for radical left and anti-American activists. Can you believe it? Began the process of abolishing the Federal Department of Education and returning education back to the states. And Linda McMahon is doing a fantastic job. Ended Joe Biden's weaponization of our government and removed his handpicked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice. Like deranged Jack Sixsmith. He's a sick son of a bitch. They gave me the worst of the worst. And here I am. How did that happen? How did that happen? He's a sick guy. And Letitia James is sick. And Alvin Bragg is sick. They're sick people. And others. Fanny.
Based, my goat Destiny. Talk as if you haven't been a streamer for a decade and therefore out of the working environment.
Shout out to DGG.
Fani. You can't call Fanny. She doesn't like it. She wants to be called Fani. Fani Willis. I won. Can you imagine? Putting somebody through that? And then if I suggest that somebody may be guilty of a terrible crime. Oh, he's wet.
The problem is that some people abuse the fuck out of it and it makes everyone's lives awful. I have this lady who you cannot contact between 7 to 10 a.m. and 2 to 4:30, but can't be fired because she's super senior. Forcing people back in filters the abusers. Forcing people back in filters the abusers out as a reset. I mean, if she's scheduled to be working in those hours and she's not available, then fire her. But one thing that management is very good at sometimes, in my opinion, just again on my old work experience, maybe it's different than what exists now, but like management is very good at like, well, keep in mind also that I was working at a casino during the financial crash, so we were pretty bare bones too, but they will skeleton crew hire a shift. And then if a person calls out or dies, they'll start calling in like swing shift or day shift people. Just kidding. You would ask swing shift to stay late. You would never touch your precious, beautiful day shifters, okay, who can't do fucking anything extra ever, okay? But they'll start asking people to stay late, or they'll try to bring in people for their 6th or 7th day or whatever. And then if you say no, well, management will blame those employees, and employees will take the bait. They'll be like, God, I can't believe Kevin didn't come. I can't believe Kevin didn't stay late yesterday. I can't believe that John wouldn't come in a little bit early and help us. Excuse me. Kevin and John are not fucking slaves. You should be blaming Sarah for not hiring another fucking employee. Hire somebody else, you fucking piece of shit. Hire somebody else. Get another fucking part-time worker or some bullshit. Excuse me. It can't be that your contingency plans are, if somebody calls out or dies, then we're about to fucking psychologically rape you for the next 3 weeks until we get another employee on board.
Weaponizing government. Trump is weaponizing government. It's terrible. Can you imagine? They say to me about weaponize. I don't weaponize anything. But what they did to me, no.
When you work in fast food and they call you in on your day off, I don't know if fast food shifts are the way they used to be. Fast food shifts, though, are funny as fuck because it'll be like a 2-hour. Fast food shifts will be like, hey, they'll call you like on a Friday, like, we really need you to come in. And it's like, okay, from when? From 5 to 7. You want me to come in for $11? You want me to fuck my whole night up? Because what the fuck am I doing? 5 to 7? If I wake up at noon, okay, well, I'm not probably going out now because I got to get ready at, 4 o'clock or whatever. 5 to 7? You want me to come in so you can give me a tenner and walk out and fuck my whole evening up? Eat shit.
Can you imagine? They say to me about weaponize, I don't weaponize anything. But what they did to me, nobody ever went through what I went through. And here I am in a place called the White House. It's a beautiful place. Who would have thought, right? Signed legislation to cut all taxpayer funding to woke and biased NPR and BBS. And they're sort of gone now, I guess. I heard they closed up. They were terrible. They were so unfair. They were so terrible. Officially reinstated Columbus Day. I like the name Columbus Day. The Italian people are very happy about it. Remember when
There
you
you
go to the
go.
voting booths, I reinstated Columbus Day. That was an easy one. Christopher Columbus. Cut Social Security wait times.
And they never schedule you for more than 30 hours per week? True. It's pretty hard working 7 days a week. Wow, 7 days a week? That must be a lot of overtime at least, right? Overtime, motherfucker? I'm scheduled for 27 hours. And I work twice on Sunday.
50% serve 65% more Social Security recipients
fast
by
food.
phone and are on track to doubling the service and performance compared to the Biden administration. We're 2.5 to 3 times better and faster. Slash VA claims backlog to the low and I got to cut it out with all these big plants and factories, and that's after 1 year. They have two problems: immigration and energy. They got to stop with the windmills, and they got to go back like you.
Oh, he's
That's how.
answering questions.
Please. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I have two questions for you. One, do you want your Board of Peace to replace the UN?
Well, it might. I mean, the UN just hasn't been very helpful. I'm a big fan of the UN potential, but it has never lived up to its potential. The UN should have settled every one of the wars that I settled. I never went to them. I never even thought to go to them. They should be able to settle those wars. They don't. I believe you got to let the UN continue because the potential is so great.
And another one,
Wow.
you invited Lula from Brazil to be part of the Board of Peace.
I did.
What role do you
I did.
expect him to play, especially
role. I like
in
him.
Venezuela?
Yeah,
And
I-
another one, because Lula...
Are you from Brazil?
Yes. The EU and Mercosur just signed a trade agreement this weekend, which is going to be the biggest trade zone, free zone in the world. At the moment, we're talking a lot about tariffs. What is your reaction to that? So, two questions, Lula.
Well,
and then-
look, I just think this. I think we have trade like we've never had before. We're doing better in trade than we've ever had before. We're not being ripped off by every country in the world like we were before. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever thought possible. We're the richest we ever were. It's because of tariffs and the proper use of tariffs, and we're also the most secure. As an example, Iceland, without tariffs, they wouldn't even be talking to us about it. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to work out quite well. Yeah, right behind.
Thank you, Mr. President. How would you characterize your relationship with Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer right now? And have you spoken to them since your Truth Social post?
No, I haven't, but I think I get along very well with them. I mean, they always treat me well. They get a little bit rough when they're, when I'm not around. But when I'm around, they treat me very nicely. And,
What does that
I like
mean?
both of them. They're both liberal. They've got to straighten out their countries. You can't, London is having a lot of problems, and if you look at Paris, got a lot of problems. They have two problems: immigration and energy. They got to stop with the windmills, and they got to go back like UK has an unbelievable asset called the North Sea. Norway uses it, makes a fortune. They have a better section of it, and they don't do it. They could straighten out their countries, and it would be good. But I get along very well with them.
You told Norway's Prime Minister...
Are you from Norway?
No.
You look like you. She looks like she's from Norway. Go ahead.
You told Norway's Prime Minister that you not winning the Nobel Peace Prize made you feel less obligated to think purely of peace.
Well, I lost a lot of respect for Norway. And
But why
I
would not
believe,
winning
and I
that
believe
prize
very
affect-
strongly that Norway controls the Nobel Prize. But you have to understand, I settled 8 wars. I've had every one of those wars, every participant wrote, I didn't ask him to do it. They sent in strong they make recommendations for that. But I settled 8 wars. No president's probably ever settled 1 war. I don't know, think of it. I did 8. The reason I do it is because it's easy for me to do. And I didn't do it for a Nobel Prize. I did it because I'm saving a lot of lives. I'm trying to settle the final one. I'm trying to do Russia-Ukraine. And when Russia's ready, Ukraine's not. When Ukraine's ready, Russia's not. But they're losing 25,000 people a month on average, and I'm trying to get that one done. But no, I feel that Norway has tremendous control over who gets the Nobel Prize, despite what they say.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Mr. President, Kevin Hassett has said that those $2,000 tariff rebate checks would be up to Congress to decide whether or not.
Working from home has the opposite problem when your family expects you to be available when you work. That's your problem. That's called a strategy problem. If you have a work from home job, why the fuck would you ever tell your family you have a work from home job? Just go rent a small office suite or whatever, okay? Get a sick fucking rig, get your Arc Raiders or your Factorio, set the fuck up, and deck it out with a big screen TV and chill. That's your chill place, okay? Your work from home is just going to be your man cave away from home. Your significant other doesn't need to know you have a work from home job, and you just go to the office. Boom, easy. I don't know why I just played that, sorry.
This first, that do you agree with Kevin Hassett on that, or do you think you can do that unilaterally?
I don't think we would have to go the Congress route, but we'll find out.
Yo, after listening to this authoritarian ape throw shit at the wall, can you watch this for my god tier prime minister today, the WF? Yes, I will. But I will say, stalking your last messages was pretty funny. Oh, wait, now it's not showing up? Wait. Did I do it backwards? Dan can't stream. Just uninstall, restart PC, install. Just uninstall the game, uninstall the game. Bro. Wait, you're like schizo posting.
The reason we're even talking about it is that we have so much money coming in from tariffs that we'll be able to issue at least a $2,000 dividend. And
Trump used to be more of a normal old person racist, but he seems a lot more racist now since closely associating with Miller. I describe this as like gravity, but I guess you could describe it in other ways. Some people have like very, what would you say, like strong beliefs and personalities, and they tend to kind of like pull people around them more into their belief system. Like I would say, like it's probably true of most, I would imagine, political streamers. Like I have a very strong gravity. If I spend a lot of time around people, I think over time they're probably going to start to migrate towards me. I'm pretty stubborn about my views, and I think about them, right? Because I'm a political streamer. This is probably true for most political streamers, like Nick Fuentes, or these people are going to have high gravity. And then some people are especially not persuadable. What is like the innocent, naive word for like they're very easily influenced? There's a word I'm looking for. Not gullible, not suggestible, impressionable, maybe is the word I was looking for. Some people are very breedable and impressionable, and they very quickly change depending on who's talking to them. And Trump, I think, is a very impressionable, kind of like weak belief person because he doesn't have very many strong beliefs. So yeah, if you hear him getting more racist or like more like white nationalisty, it's probably going to be a reflection of the people that he hangs around. So like Stephen Miller are where these like low IQ talking points and everything are coming from, more so than him genuinely becoming a fucking like Trump could never be a real Nazi. He doesn't have, as crazy as it is, he doesn't have like the depth of character to possess that level of ideological commitment. He just can't. He just doesn't. He's just not that kind of person. He couldn't, even if he wanted to, he couldn't. He just can't. He would be like, even if he was a Nazi, he would just do it to follow a trend. He would be too stupid to have any strong commitment to it. Why is there a baby crying in my hallway?
Also pay down debt for the country, but we'd do a $2,000 dividend to the people of our country. We'd probably set a limit of income limit where it made sense, but we will be able to make a very substantial dividend to the people of our country. I believe we can do that without Congress.
Last night on Truth Social, you said that the British plan to hand the base of Diego Garcia over to Mauritius and then rent it back was an act of great stupidity. Previously, you backed that deal. Is it now your position that the deal should not go ahead?
I think that when they originally were going to do it, they were talking about doing some concept of ownership. But now they're looking to essentially just do a lease and sell it. And I'm against that. It's a reasonably nothing like Greenland, but it's a reasonably important area of the globe. Not to anywhere near Greenland, but I think they should keep it. I don't know why they're doing it. Do they need money?
Mr. President, with your support to the Syrian government...
Wait, who? What is he talking about there?
Essentially just do a lease and sell it. Originally we're going to do it. They were talking...
So you backed that deal. You plan to hand the base of Diego Garcia over to Mauritius and then rent it back.
To the people of our
country. On Truth Social, you said that the British plan to hand the base of Diego Garcia over to Mauritius and then rent it back was an act of great stupidity.
Diego Garcia base in Mauritius? I don't know anything about that. Okay.
Previously talking about doing it's a reasonably nothing like Greenland, but it's a reasonably important area of the globe. Not to anywhere near Greenland, but...
The Chagos Islands? Don't know anything about it.
Should keep it. I don't know why they're doing it. Do they need money?
Mr. President, with your support to the Syrian government, most probably you avoided another civil war and a bloodshed in Syria, especially after the fall of the regime.
I did a good job.
The Syrian government the last 2 weeks had to use some force to implement its force on specific areas. And
well,
with
to keep the prisoners, the terrorist prisoners, which are some of the worst in the world.
Worst in the world.
So they were able to keep that. He's working very hard. The president of Syria is working very, very hard. Strong guy, tough guy, pretty rough resume. But you're not going to put a choir boy in there and get the job done. I spoke with him yesterday because we were talking about the prisons and what was going on. We have some of the worst terrorists in the world in those prisons, and he's watching it.
President Gavin Newsom is going to be at Davos if he's not already there. You're probably going to run into him. I presume that this is for him to raise his platform for 2028. But what do you anticipate his foreign policy platform is going to be?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he's going to be the nominee. I know this. I had a very good relationship with Gavin Newsom when we were, in office together. I was president. He was the governor of California. He would talk about it often. and somewhere we just went astray. I just hate the way California is being run. We actually have people leaving. It's never happened before, but I hate the way it's being run. He and I had a very good relationship. They're really close to the word exceptional, but now we seem not to.
Thank you, President Trump. You spoke earlier.
Mr. President, you've been here from Alex.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Carol Castanova from Lindell TV. And you spoke earlier about the 2020 election. Now that Maduro is in U.S. custody and he was criminally charged, has any more information emerged that you could share with us regarding Venezuelan election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering?
I'm sorry, are you Ryan Gosling? Is this Drive? Why does she have fingerless gloves on? What are we doing here?
With the 2020 election, and would you consider speaking to Maduro personally in prison in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election?
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I think my lawyers would be very unhappy if I did. Yeah, they've learned some things. Please.
What happens to the tariff threat to Greenland if the Supreme Court comes out and rules against you on the tariffs? And
we'll have to use something else. I mean, look,
use force?
take a look at the word license. Take a look at other things. I mean, we have other alternatives. But what we're doing now is the best, the strongest, the fastest, the easiest, the least complicated.
Sir, if you move ahead with the Greenland-related tariffs on Europe, you secured almost $1 trillion of commitments from them to invest in the United States. Does that go out the window if that happens?
I doubt it. Look, they need that agreement very badly with us. They really do. They fought very hard to get it. So I doubt that. But we'll see what happens. We have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland. I'm leaving tonight, as you know, Davos. And we have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland. And I think things are going to work out pretty well, actually.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could you still go to Paris for the G7 emergency meeting as offered by President Macron?
No, I wouldn't do that. Because, Emmanuel's not going to be there very long. And, there's no longevity there. He's a friend of mine. He's a nice guy. I like Macron. But he's not going to be there very much longer, as you know. And I think, I have meetings with the people that are directly involved, not some of the people you're talking about.
Thanks so much, Mr. President.
I've never seen this room like this. Is this a celebration of the first year? Yes. Have you ever seen it? I've never seen this many. I hope we have a very good structural floor. This used to be a swimming pool. You're sitting over a swimming pool. I could see that happen. But we need a good structure here, don't we? Huh? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Happy 1 year anniversary.
Thank you.
And my question is on Syria. The Kurds, as the most loyal U.S. partners, facing attacks by some Syrian elements within the Syrian government. Will you do to ensure the Kurdish rights protected and their effective forces against terrorism in Rojava, Syria continue as the Kurdish see you as a president does not abandon his allies?
Well, I like the Kurds, but just so you understand, the Kurds were paid tremendous amounts of money, were given oil and other things, so they were doing it for themselves, more so than they were doing it for us, but we got along with the Kurds, and we are trying to protect the Kurds, that's correct.
Ahead of your speech in Davos, can you give
What happened with the Kurds a long time ago, back when Trump was president in his first term?
a preview of what we can expect as far as laying out the plans for Americans to be able to buy homes?
I think more than anything else, what I'm going to be speaking about is the tremendous success that we've had in 1 year. I didn't think we could do it this fast. Think of it, it's just now 12 months, and I say it often, we have the most successful country in the world, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world by far, and this country would have been absolutely stone cold dead. And I'm going to be talking about it. Because a lot of them could use some of the advice as to what we did. They need energy. You take a look at their energy policy, they're going to destroy themselves with what they're doing with the windmills and all the nonsense. They need energy help badly, or they're going to be in big trouble, and they need immigration help badly. How much longer do you want to go?
Let's call it.
I do. I have a very important call with President Erdogan, who I like a lot. All right, one or two more questions. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. During
Go ahead,
second,
please. Go ahead.
One question about
Yes. The red blouse. Go ahead.
You talked a lot at the beginning of this about the economy, some positive economic indicators. Polling shows the majority of Americans don't feel the economy is doing well. Are you worried you're making the same mistake as President Biden?
No, I hope I don't make the same mistake as him. Look, I inherited a terrible, it's a great question because we inherited a terrible, terrible mess between the border, between all the problems. The whole country was falling apart. And in 12 months, less than 12
Question for MAGA. Has any other lawmaker repeated the same talking points in an interview? The way that Trump does? No, nobody else does. I don't know. We need to figure out some way to get 10 Trump supporters in a room, just ask them questions like that. How do you feel when he reads executive orders? How do you feel when he... But I feel like the answers would be very disappointing. I don't think we would feel good about it. They would just say, he's just staying on message or so. I don't know. I feel like it would just be dumb. It wouldn't be... Yeah.
In 12 months, we have the strongest border we've ever had. We have prices that are much, much lower than they were for the last time. We inherited very high prices. Remember this, inflation was at a historic high. We had never had inflation like that. They say 48 years, but whether it's 48 years or ever, we had the highest inflation, in my opinion, that we've ever had. Prices, because of that, were very high. I inherited, we brought down eggs immediately. Remember the first news conference, they were screaming at me about eggs. I was in the position for 2 days, and we brought eggs down to lower than what they were before. And by the way, they continue that way. We brought the prices down from when I came into office and from what Biden had, way down. We're going to bring them down further. But the job we did is a miracle. One of the reasons I'm doing this today is to explain. We inherited a mess, and we've made it a beautiful, beautiful picture. Think of gasoline at $1.99 in many states.
Wow.
$1.99 a gallon. It was $4.50, $5, in some cases $6 or $7. We're at $1.99. And energy is so big that with energy...
I might watch this later. I don't know. We'll see. This person spent months working on this video. Source, Destiny, YouTube. 2025? I know that I suck at timelines, but I feel like this was a little bit longer ago. No? 2025? Wrong year, my bad. I think it was actually 2023. 2022, never mind. Based. Queen.
Energy, everything else comes down. But the prices are coming way down. And we're going to bring them down further. But we started up here with these guys. We inherited a country that was broken. We inherited a country, and I said, I have a very warm spot. We've done very well with...
Destiny, it's really bad. They say you sexually harassed them because you said you saw a doll getting cummed on in their background. Okay.
Venezuela, and by the way, that even in itself is going to help us bring down the oil prices. I mean, the Venezuelan oil, we've taken 50 million gallons of oil. We've taken 50 million barrels of oil out of Venezuela in the first 4 days. We've got millions of barrels of oil left. We're selling it on the open market. We're bringing down oil prices incredibly. And when they come down, and they've already come down, again, $1.99 a gallon for oil. Nobody thought they'd ever see it. All right, one or two more. Go ahead, go, yes.
I want to ask you about Iran. Is the military option still on the table? And can you assure us that the killing in Iran has stopped? And when regard to the UN Peace Council, which members have to pay $1 billion?
So with Iran, are you from Iran?
No, I cover the White House.
Where are you from?
I'm Palestinian American.
So with Iran, they were going to hang 837 people. And I let them be known that...
That means she's born in America, by the way.
And we let them know that if that happens, that will be a very bad day for them. And they decided not to do it. They didn't hang the people. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future, but supposedly they've taken that off the table. But they were going to, last week, they were going to hang on Thursday or Wednesday. They were going to hang, I think, 837 people. And they didn't hang anybody. So we're just going to have to see what happens with Iran. Is the military option off the table? Go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, President
Go ahead,
Trump.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead, I'll take your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Go ahead, right here.
Thank you, Mr. President. You promised during your second inaugural to always put America first. I'm curious, how would you winning the Nobel Peace Prize improve the lives of average, everyday Americans? Why is this prize so important?
It wouldn't improve the lives of any. What improved the lives of people are people that are living. I saved probably tens of millions of lives in the wars. You know, if you add up the numbers, just if you look at any one of those wars, you're talking about millions of people. You multiply it times 8. But when you look at India and Pakistan, that could have been 10, 15, 20 million people. Could have been more than that. So I saved millions of people. So that to me is the big thing. What?
You suggested a moment ago that perhaps the reason why a positive story about the economy isn't getting through is because of bad communications people. But are average Americans wrong to still feel high prices? And how much longer does the White House hope that they?
So I think a lot of people are listening to the fake news a little bit, and I'm not blaming anybody. I think I blame ourselves. I think we've done a much better job than we're able to promote. We're not promoting. We're doing a great job, and we're sort of letting the promotion take care of itself. One of the reasons I'm doing this news conference, I think it's important. We have taken a mess and made it really good. It's going to get even better. But if you look at prices from a year or a year and a half ago, you look at the Biden prices, they were way up through the sky. And, they use the word affordability. They just say affordability, and they don't talk about it. They created the affordability problem, and we are solving it. We have solved a lot of it. Again, everybody agrees in this room, I think, gasoline prices have come per gallon way down. When that happens, everything else comes down, but they've come down way down. Many of the groceries have come way down. It's all happening, and it's happening strong. But if you go back a year and a half, 2 years, take a look at those prices and look at the prices now.
Trump administration concedes Doge team may have misused Social Security data. Some Doge personnel had more access to data than previously acknowledged, according to a court filing. Notice of corrections to the record. Defendant Social Security Administration has reviewed records of and relating to data access of SSA's former Doge team for audit and litigation purposes. Based on its review of records obtained during or after October 2025, SSA identified communications, use of data, and other actions by the then SSA Doge team that were potentially outside of SSA policy and or non-compliant with the district court's March 20th, 2025 temporary restraining order. SSA notified the undersigned DOJ attorneys on December 10th, 2025 of its concerns. Following further diligence and review by SSA into these matters, which were necessary for SSA and the undersigned counsel to understand the facts surrounding the SSA Doge team's actions, defendants now respectfully notify the court as follows. For the avoidance of doubt, undersigned counsel clarified that the information contained in this notice was relayed to the undersigned counsel by SSA representatives. Counsel will promptly inform the court if the information within their possession changes. As of Monday, March 24th, 2025, SSA revoked all SSA Doge Teams members' access to SSA systems containing personally identifiable information or systems of record. SSA believed that statement to be accurate at the time it was made. SSA has now determined that during the morning of Monday, March 24th, 2025, one member of the then SSA team, Doge team, ran PII searches on SSA's copy of the Numident within the Enterprise Data Warehouse, with the last search occurring on or about 9:30 a.m. ET. Doge team members' access to all PII within SSA systems terminated on or about noon that same day at March 24th, 2025, before the filing of the declaration at ECF 56. I'll get to the Mark Carney thing, and I'll get to the Channel 5 thing, okay? And maybe the slop tuber about us. Mark Carney, Channel 5, Destiny slop tuber. Okay, I got it on the agenda, all right. Mr. Dudek's March 24th, 2025 declaration also stated that the Doge defendants have never had access to SSA systems of record. SSA believed that statement to be accurate at the time it was made, and SSA believes it to be accurate today. However, SSA has determined that on March 3rd, 2025, 3 weeks prior to entry of the TRO, an SSA Doge team member copied Mr. Steve Davis, who was then a senior advisor to defendant U.S. Doge Temporary Organization, as well as a Doge-affiliated employee at the Department of Labor, on an email to Department of Homeland Security. The email attached an encrypted and password-protected file that SSA believes contained SSA data. Despite ongoing efforts by SSA's Chief Information Office, SSA has been unable to access the file to determine exactly what it contained. From the explanation of the attached file and the email body, and based on what SSA had approved to be released to DHS, SSA believes that the encrypted attachment contained PII derived from SSA systems of record, including names and addresses of approximately 1,000 people. It is unclear if the password to access the file was shared with Mr. Davis or the DOL Doge employee. Therefore, although it was and remains accurate that USDS has never had access to SSA systems of record, the March 3rd communication sent to Mr. Davis contained data derived from SSA systems of record. Wait, what is this? No headlines, and nobody will ever carry any of this. But if this was about liberals or Obama or Biden, this 1,000 people thing would have so much conspiratorial nonsense around it. Or I say nonsense, it's not even nonsense. What are the 1,000 people that Doge is requesting PII from the Social Security Administration for? SSA's review identified an instance where SSA granted access to PII profiles to a Doge team member, but the access granted was never utilized. And then it was revoked. The employee never used it. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait, hold up. Also in his March 12th declaration, Mr. Rousseau attested that the overall goal of the work performed by SSA's Doge team is to detect fraud, waste, and abuse in SSA programs, and to provide recommendations for action to the Acting Commissioner of SSA, the SSA Office of the Inspector General, and the Executive Office of the President. Further, in defendants' TRO opposition, defendants argued that the SSA Doge team had a need to access SSA records because the Doge team exists under Executive Order 14,158 to modernize technology and to maximize efficiency and productivity within SSA. SSA believed those statements to be accurate at the time they were made, and they are largely still accurate. However, SSA determined in its recent review that in March 2025, a political advocacy group contacted two members of SSA's Doge team with a request to analyze state voter rolls that the advocacy group had acquired from the Social Security Administration, or that they had acquired from some other Doge activity. The advocacy group's stated aim was to find evidence of voter fraud and to overturn election results in certain states. In connection with these communications, one of the Doge team members signed a voter data agreement in his capacity as an SSA employee with the advocacy group. He sent the executed agreement to the advocacy group on March 24th, 2025. At this time, there's no evidence that SSA employees outside of the involved members of the Doge team were aware of the communications with the advocacy group, nor were they aware of the voter data agreement. This agreement was not reviewed or approved through the agency's data exchange procedures. SSA first learned about this agreement during a review unrelated to this case in November 2025. I mean, that's kind of fucking insane, but okay. Blah, 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 blah. This is just summarizing what we read. Whatever. Why is he shooting himself in the hand? Clark Kent threatens a police officer with his powers. He's Superman. Well, he doesn't have powers. What, did he shoot laser eyes and fly?
Next in the global economy, which makes this a fitting moment to introduce a former hockey player, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. The ability to remain calm in fast-moving, high-pressure moments has defined Mark's career. In 2008, he led the Bank of Canada and helped steer his economy through the worst market turmoil in all our lives, in our generation. In the aftermath of Brexit, he became the first non-Brit to serve as a governor of the Bank of England. And last year, he was elected very deservingly as Prime Minister for Canada, at what may be one of the most pivotal moments in modern Canadian history. Today, Prime Minister Carney is focused on making Canada a place where it's easier to build, simpler to trade, smarter to invest in, and build more unity across its nation. For 41 million Canadians, the world's 10th largest economy, he is a steady and thoughtful leader, and I am proud to call him a friend. Please.
Wait. Look at this shit. Kino memes, you're now a prophet. Wait, has this Twitter fan group been co-opted by actual Taliban or Afghanistan fighters? The Mujahideen. This community is dedicated to the brave Mujahideen fighters of Afghanistan, not a cult. The migration of Tira. Wait, what? Hello? Guys? Hello?
सुहेल आफरीदी के कराची दौरे के दौरान कराची की सड़कों पर तो कोई न निकला। अचकजई और मजहबी ढोंगी की लाहौर आमद से क्या हुआ? कुछ भी हासिल न हुआ, बल्कि इन बदनस्लों को इनकी औकात याद दिला दी गई। मगर
Wait, I don't know if they're about to start showing people getting executed or whatever. Do you think they're actual, like, people, or do you think it's just, like, bots?
Now, the battle of the future will not be won by a single arm or even a single service. It will be a national level enterprise.
Wait. Wait a second. A little bit? Like a little bit? Am I face blind to myself? What?
Please join me in welcoming Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'm going to start in French, and then I'll switch back to English. Merci, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. It is both a pleasure and a duty to be with you tonight in this pivotal moment that Canada and the world are going through. Today I will talk about a rupture in the world order, the end of a pleasant fiction and the beginning of a harsh reality, where geopolitics, where the large main power geopolitics is submitted to no limits, no constraints. On the other hand, I would like to tell you that the other countries, especially...
Wait, how do you feel about Mark joining Gaza's Board of Peace? LOL. Think that means he paid the $1 billion to... Who's Mark?
The intermediate powers like Canada are not powerless. They have the capacity to build a new order that encompasses our values.
Oh, Carney. Or Rute? Who? I don't even know what you're... Okay.
Such as respect for human rights, sustainable development, solidarity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the various states. The power of the less power starts with honesty.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't. So what are our options? In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with a greengrocer. Every morning, the shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite." He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places a sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along. And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false. Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack. Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. For decades. For decades.
I think this is kind of what I was talking about, where I say that, like, it feels like for the past year, nobody really believed that the United States is doing what it's doing, and everybody's living in this collective delusion. Like, Europe doesn't really want to abandon NATO. Countries don't really want to start looking at a post-America trade world. People don't really want to believe that somebody like Trump and that is going to be able to basically do unilaterally 4 years of U.S., I guess, military and trade policy. But, like, at some point, I don't know if the world can persist for 4 years pretending it's just going to go back to normal, or if there's going to be some reshuffling kind of the world order where people are like, okay, well, we need to start looking at things post-America. And it sounds like, yeah, Carney's like, okay, guys, time to wake the fuck up.
Countries like Canada prospered under what we call the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of that, we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful. And American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window.
Do you think investing in European defense companies would be a good investment now they have to start building? To be honest, I keep describing this delusion. I still live fully in this delusion, by the way. I don't want to move on from the current world order, and I'm hoping in 4 years we kind of go back to something else. So who knows?
We participated in the rituals, and we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination. The multilateral institutions on which the middle powers have relied, the WTO, the UN, the COP, the architecture, the very architecture of collective problem solving are under threat. And as a result, many countries are drawing the same conclusions, that they must develop greater strategic autonomy in energy, food, critical minerals, in finance and supply chains. And this impulse is understandable. A country that can't feed itself, fuel itself, or defend itself has few options. When the rules no longer protect you, you must protect yourself. But let's be clear-eyed about where this leads. A world of fortresses will be poorer, more fragile, and less sustainable.
Yep. Like, you can do this. Every country can be an island. Every country can strive for autarky. Every country can try to do everything on its own. It's just unbelievably less efficient. Did you guys ever do the thing in class where there were like 20 of you and the teacher split you into 2 halves and half of you had to make a sandwich and then the other half of you were like on an assembly line and you each made like 5 sandwiches down the line? Did anybody ever do this? Anybody know this? It's to illustrate the idea that like specialization and the sign with the side that has the assembly line can create 20 sandwiches faster than the other side did. Nobody did this experiment or whatever? No, okay. It was to show a point to the class where it's like, oh, look, like if all of you are making it on your own individually, it's not as fast as people working in an assembly line. And specialization in a lot of different ways, it just yields better benefits for comparative advantage. Having every country do their own defense, having every country manage their own trade, having every country do all this stuff might be necessary in the future because the United States is suiciding itself. But it's a shittier future for everybody. It's just worse. You're just worse off in every way.
And there's another truth. If great powers abandon even the pretense of rules and values for the unhindered pursuit of their power and interests, the gains from transactionalism will become harder to replicate. Hegemons cannot continually monetize their relationships. Allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty. They'll buy insurance, increase options, in order to rebuild sovereignty. Sovereignty that was once grounded in rules but will increasingly be anchored in the ability to withstand pressure. This room knows this is classic risk management. Risk management comes at a price.
Yep.
But that cost of strategic autonomy of
I hate listening to this fucking guy talk because it's just like, he just sounds like a guy who, actually, it's him with Hunter Biden when he talks about legal stuff. And I guess it's because he went to Yale or whatever. He sounds like a guy who just knows things. He's just like, he's not a fucking retard. But like, this should be your bare minimum expectation for like a world leader, especially for the strongest country. But he's a smart guy. But I'm saying smart, but like, just like bare minimum smart, right? Like risk management has downsides. That's true. One of the biggest complaints I always have when I listen to anybody talk about anything is like, why don't you ever analyze both sides of this transaction, right? Risk management has downsides. That's why you calculate what your risk is. You know, like you can safeguard against every single risk, but at some point it becomes so prohibitively expensive that you're better off just taking on some risk, right? But I don't even know. I shouldn't even have to explain this.
sovereignty can also be shared. Collective investments in resilience are cheaper than everyone building their own fortresses. Yep. Shared standards reduce fragmentations. Complementarities are positive sum. And the question for middle powers like Canada is not whether to adapt to the new reality. We must. The question is whether we adapt by simply building higher walls or whether we can do something more ambitious. Now, Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. Canadians know that our old comfortable assumptions that our geography and alliance memberships automatically conferred prosperity and security, that assumption is no longer valid. And our new approach rests on what Alexander Stubb, the President of Finland, has termed value-based realism. Or to put another way, we aim to be both principled and pragmatic. Principled in our commitment to fundamental values, sovereignty, territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force except when consistent with the UN Charter, and respect for human rights. And pragmatic in recognizing that progress is often incremental, that interests diverge, that not every partner will share all of our values. So we're engaging broadly, strategically with open eyes. We actively take on the world as it is not wait around for a world we wish to be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing broad engagement to maximize our influence, given the fluidity of the world at the moment, the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next. And we are no longer just relying on the strength of our values, but also the value of our strength. We are building that strength at home. Since my government took office, we have cut taxes on incomes, on capital gains, and business investment. We have removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. We are fast-tracking $1 trillion of investments in energy, AI, critical minerals, new trade corridors, and beyond. We're doubling our defense spending by the end of this decade, and we're doing so in ways that build our domestic industries. And we are rapidly diversifying abroad. We've agreed a comprehensive strategic partnership with the EU, including joining SAFE, the European Defence Procurement Arrangements. We have signed 12 other trade and security deals on 4 continents in 6 months. The past few days, we've concluded new strategic partnerships with China and Qatar. We're negotiating free trade pacts with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, and Mercosur. We're doing something else. To help solve global problems, we're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions for different issues based on common values and interests. So on Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security. On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future. Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. So we're working with our NATO allies, including the Nordic-Baltic Gate, to further secure the alliance's northern and western flanks, including through Canada's unprecedented investments in over-the-horizon radar, in submarines, in aircraft, and boots on the ground, boots on the ice. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic. On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc of 1.5 billion people. On critical minerals, we're forming buyers clubs anchored in the G7 so that the world can diversify away from concentrated supply. And on AI, we're cooperating with like-minded democracies to ensure that we won't ultimately be forced to choose between hegemons and hyperscalers. This is not naive multilateralism, nor is it relying on their institutions. It's building coalitions that work, issues by issue, with partners who share enough common ground to act together. In some cases, this will be the vast majority of nations. What it's doing is creating a dense web of connections across trade, investment, culture, on which we can draw for future challenges and opportunities. Argue the middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers...
Wait, I don't get that. Wait.
What it's doing is creating a dense web of connections across trade, investment, culture, on which we can draw for future challenges and opportunities. Argue the middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu.
Oh, I get it.
But I'd also say that great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms.
What do you think MAGA's reaction will be to the speech? They won't. MAGA doesn't engage with or interact with anything on a foreign policy level. Nobody even knows who this guy is.
Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination. In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice: compete with each other for favor or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain strong if we choose to wield them together. Which brings me back to Havel. What does it mean for middle powers to live the truth? Well, first, it means naming reality. Stop invoking rules-based international order as though it still functions as advertised. Call it what it is: a system of intensifying great power rivalry where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion. It means acting consistently, applying the same standards to allies and rivals. When middle powers criticize economic intimidation from one direction but stay silent when it comes from another, we are keeping the sign in the window. It means building what we claim to believe in. Rather than waiting for the old order to be restored, it means creating institutions and agreements that function as described. And it means reducing the leverage that enables coercion. That's building a strong domestic economy. It should be every government's immediate priority. And diversification internationally is not just economic prudence, it's a material foundation for honest foreign policy, because countries earn the right to principled stands by reducing their vulnerability to retaliation. So Canada. Canada has what the world wants. We are an energy superpower. We hold vast reserves of critical minerals. We have the most educated population in the world.
That's true.
Our pension funds are amongst the world's largest and most sophisticated investors. In other words, we have capital, talent. We also have a government with immense fiscal capacity to act decisively. And
I don't exactly know how they did it, because I would have to read into their banking system. It was too. I just didn't understand enough about monetary policy at the time. But somehow, with the way they do their banking system, Canada was able to somehow largely weather the 2007, 2008, the financial collapse. Like, I think it impacted them less than like almost any other country on the planet, even though they're literally our neighbor. I don't know exactly how they did it, but it was some. Yeah, Mark Carney did that, by the way. Yeah, I don't know how, but it was impressive.
We have the values to which many others aspire. Canada is a pluralistic society that works. Our public square is loud, diverse, and free. Canadians remain committed to sustainability. We are a stable and reliable partner in a world that is anything but. A partner that builds and values relationships for the long term. And we have something else. We have a recognition of what's happening and a determination to act accordingly. We understand that this rupture calls for more than adaptation. It calls for honesty about the world as it is. We are taking the sign out of the window. We know the old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. But we believe that from the fracture, we can build something bigger, better, stronger, more just. This is the task of the middle powers. The countries that have the most to lose from a world of fortresses and the most to gain from genuine cooperation. The powerful have their power. But we have something too. The capacity to stop pretending, to name reality, to build our strength at home, and to act together. That is Canada's path. We choose it openly and confidently, and it is a path wide open to any country willing to take it with us. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. I don't think I've seen many standing ovations at Davos, so that was interesting. You said there was a phrase in your speech where you said sovereignty now is the ability to withstand pressure. Isn't Canada almost uniquely vulnerable to pressure because of the extent of your trade dependence on the United States?
Yep.
Well, the proof is that we have been able to withstand the pressure, and there has been considerable pressure. I'll give you a couple of facts. We've actually created more jobs since the tariffs were put on than the United States in absolute number. Economy is growing at the second fastest rate within the G7.
An absolute number with 1/6 of the population.
It's not there. There are pockets of extreme pressure without question in Canada. But headline, we're reacting. The second thing, and it's a fundamental point, is the recognition that we can give ourselves far more than any foreign country can take away. There's lots of efficiencies in having one Canadian market, the $1 trillion of domestic investment, and building these parts.
Destiny, explain. Well, you would expect a per capita number there. They have 1/7 of our population, I think. Is it Canada like? No. Canada has more people than that. 1/6? Canada population, 41 million. No, 1/8, maybe? They have far fewer people, but they created more jobs in an absolute number than us. That's an impressive thing.
Partnerships abroad, all of which are bigger returns than what's been lost. That's not to say we would rather not lose it, but we can withstand the pressure, and we are.
And I was interested that you said basically the old world's not coming back. So you're not seeing this as a period where you just have to get through and normalcy will return.
I think that is our view, and we regret it, but we're not going to sit around and mourn it. We're acting, and we're acting in a way both that's in our interests, but we believe in a way with others that's building imperfectly in steps a new system. I'll give you one example and hand back, which is we are members of trade agreements that comprise already 1.4 billion people around the world. So we have the most extensive network. We are trying with others to bring some of those networks together. The most prominent example is the Trans-Pacific Partnership in the EU, acting as a bridge. It's not a direct benefit for Canada, but it is a benefit for Canada that these groups come together. And Ngozi is here, consistent with the WTO rules, both of which are. And in that way, we're building back out amongst willing partners.
And you talked about the need not to put the sign in the window anymore, to pretend that things are still the same. Do you think, to put it directly, that the NATO alliance is still doing that, still pretending it's the old transatlantic partnership, when it's really kind of going?
Well, I think clearly NATO is experiencing a test right now, and the first response to that test has to be to respond in a way that ensures the security of the Arctic in a robust way for all possibilities. This is actually a point that we have been making in recent years. It's a point that I made at the NATO summit back in June, which seemed like a pledging summit, but also was to get NATO policies in the right direction. So I think in the immediate term, one of the imperatives is to reinforce things that Canada is doing, Nordic Baltic 8 are doing, the UK are doing, other NATO partners, France included, in a comprehensive way that provides much greater security in the Arctic. This is the test, and so I wouldn't say the NATO sign stays in the window, but we've got to meet the moment of that.
You also, a big theme of your speech was the need for middle powers to work together. Yeah. But you've just been to the other great power, to China. And I think people are very intrigued by seeing that meeting. And some people say, kind of, that's a mistake, really, because you're going to make yourself more dependent on China. They're not that benign either. The US will be very annoyed. What's the defense of what you're doing, and what do you have to get out of it?
Well, the first thing is to say it's not a defense. It's an. I know the way you frame the question, but it's offense. It's building out. It's something positive as opposed to against. We're for something as opposed to being against. The second is, there are very clear guardrails in that relationship. I spoke of calibration of relationships in my remarks. That's what I mean by it. But within those clear guardrails are huge opportunities in energy, both clean and conventional, obviously in motor vehicles, in agriculture, in financial services, all of which is mutually beneficial. So it's additive. And look, it's the second largest economy and it's our second largest trading partner. We should have a strategic partnership with them within those guardrails, and that's what we've achieved.
And it is an interesting reversal, though, because I think certainly during the Biden administration, there was this sense that the Western world was trying to decouple from China, or de-risk at least, and is now in this new world that really going to go into reverse, and de-risking from China, because there are other risks, is less of a thing.
You need, again, many in this room, this is their livelihood, you need a web of connections. And to miss out in that web some of the largest ones, United States, we already have that, China, India, Mercosur, European Union, that's a mistake. That's not managing your relationships properly. That makes you stronger, makes you more resilient. And then on top of that, I'll give you again, I'll appeal since it's in the headlines to the Nordics. Nordics plus Canada, it's 20% of global GDP. It's not the first thing people would realize, but that relationship, which is deepening for security reasons, because we're like-minded, those are the types of partnerships that I think we'll see more of.
And you got a round of applause when you said something strong about standing on principle on Greenland. Do you think we can find an off-ramp on that? I mean, I'm sure you'll speak of it, but put it this way, if there isn't an off-ramp, where does this go?
I strongly believe that there's a better outcome that come from the discussions that have been catalyzed in an unusual way, admittedly, but and we absolutely stand by the principles that I referenced. That solution starts with security, and security, yes, of Greenland, but more broadly of the Arctic.
None of what he's saying about trade has any fucking meaning. It's all rhetoric, dog slop. Metalloid, yes, I understand. He cannot fix every single problem that the world has in 2 months. I understand. Yes, Metalloid, we get it. Thank you, sir. Jesus.
Canada is foursquare contributing to that. We're at the start of a major ramp up above and beyond, so we'll be a major contributor to that. NATO has to deliver on that. We're working intensively in order to do it. As well, prosperity for the people of Greenland. In the end, it comes back to the people there, and there are opportunities to do that in ways that would strengthen all of the alliance.
And when President Trump says, Greenland's under threat from Russia, even from China, is that for real?
I would say that there are threats. Russia is without question a threat in the Arctic. Without question. Russia does lots of horrible things, and I'll take the opportunity to condemn their unjustified and horrific assault on Ukraine, almost at its fourth year. They are a real threat in the Arctic, one against we need to protect, which is why we have 364 5-day air, sea, and land presence. It's why we're adding to our submarine fleet, adding to our air fighter fleet, why we're building out over-the-horizon radar to protect from Russian missile threats and others, and why we will work with our NATO partners. The threat is more prospective than actual at this stage in terms of actual activity in the Arctic, and we intend to keep it that way.
Another big issue that's going to come up this week is this board of peace that President Trump is keen on. I'm not sure whether it's for Gaza or for the entire world, but apparently Canada's been invited. Are you going to join?
We have been invited, and let me start by, I think we should recognize the progress that has been made in at least getting towards the end of the first phase of this process, and the activation, if I can put it that way, of the process to set up the Board of Peace is the start of phase 2. Our view is, and that's to be welcomed, and this is a positive vehicle. Our view is we need to work on the actual structure of the vehicle. You just referenced, is it for Gaza? Well, the UN resolution, Security Council Resolution 2803, references a Board of Peace for Gaza. That's where we see it becoming immediately operative, and it needs to be, in our view, it's better to be designed in that way for the immediate needs there. There are many other needs around the world. First point. Second point, it needs to coincide with the immediate full flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. We are still not where we need to be. Conditions still are horrific. So that needs to come alongside. We think there's aspects of the governance and the decision-making process that could be improved, but we will work with others, obviously work with the United States, because we will do anything that we can to improve the situation, the horrific situation there, and to move onto a path to a true two-state solution.
There's a suggestion you can get permanent membership of the Board of Peace by ponying up $1 billion. You going to write a check for that?
We would write checks and deliver in kind to improve the welfare of the people of Palestine. But we want to see it delivered direct to those outcomes promoting peace, and so the mechanics and how it works that way.
Okay, final question. President Trump and a lot of people who agree with him condemn globalism a lot. And I suspect, you would be the kind of epitome of a globalist. You worked for Goldman Sachs, I believe. You were a central banker. You're comfortable and lived in several countries. Is globalism, first of all, is it a thing, and is it over?
I think, well, look.
banker.
Understanding how the world works, having appreciation for other cultures, understanding the connections, and being able to, or at least appreciating ways that how we connect, whether it's through technology, trade, investment, culture, can enrich our lives, and that's a good thing, and also help solve problems. Being detached from where you live and the broader needs of society, there is an epithet for that. I don't know that the G word is the one. There's certainly what we're finding, to go back to the points I was making, is that there are a number of like-minded countries that want to work through partnership to achieve those goals for their citizens and for the world more broadly. The call is for more to recognize what's really going on right now and to pool their resources to the benefit of citizens. So it won't be global, it won't cover the globe, but it will be more powerful.
Okay, Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Dave Rubin claims that in private, Candace hated Kirk before his death. In response, Candace says Dave groomed a kid and implies he banged Peter Thiel. Okay. I haven't said it publicly before, but it's finally worth mentioning. The last time I saw Candace at my house in 2022, all she talked about for an hour was how much she hated Charlie. I remember it vividly because the other two people she was ranting against that night were Ivanka and Jared, whom we had just met and had dinner with a few days before and who couldn't have been kinder, more decent people. Yes, that is 100% true. And when she claims this didn't happen or it's a Zionist lie, ask her if she enjoyed the chicken parm. I need bum 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 whatever that song is, the X-Files one. I need that one. This is completely and utterly made up. LOL! Sheer fiction. You guys are so positively desperate to rewrite Charlie's history that we're moving to fantasy. But since the internet is now interested, if it's cool, I'd like to now share the story about why I decided to stop being friends with you after you bizarrely opened up to me about how you hired a young Christian male who used to work on my show at PragerU. You told me his parents were overbearing Christians who were concerned about him moving to Miami to work for a gay couple. Sure enough, the next time we saw you, you told us a story about how you and your husband just knew that he wasn't shy, but he was more likely secretly gay, and how you were encouraging him to experiment with guys and explore his sex life. You told me and George that you then encouraged him to go on a date and then to have his first kiss with a man. Shortly thereafter, he quit your show and moved from Miami. I was positively sickened by this story because I knew this kid, and yes, he was shy. And the fact that you questioned him about his virginity and dating life and encouraged him to kiss a boy makes you a groomer in my book. What is young Christian male? How old are we talking? Like 16, 17, or like 25? Should we get into what you told me about your night in Hawaii with Peter Thiel? Or is the above enough perversion for one morning? That is complete and utter bullshit, and you know it. You are seriously sick. He asked me for a job after he left. Please don't make me drop receipts. You won't survive it. Everything you said there is a lie, other than you know a person who worked for me. Everyone can see through you. Also, our conversation about Jared and Ivanka that you describe as ranting, you mean me saying that they were always nice to me, but they were like almost too perfect, and that it seemed a bit like an act that they were somehow friends with everyone on both sides of the political, and that I don't think we really know what they are motivated by? This is just normal conversation between friends over dinner that you're trying to scandalize. Wait, this is a normal conversation? These two people are suspiciously nice, and they're too friendly with everybody, but we know what really motivates these people. That's a normal, ordinary conversation. What? Again, should we talk about Hawaii with Peter Thiel, or should I save it for my show? Say whatever you want right now, you absolute psychopath. We had a great 3-day vacation with a few couples who watched an episode of Black Mirror one night. Why would you say that? Okay.
ended Joe Biden's weaponization of our government, and removed his hand-picked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice, like deranged Jack Sicksmith. He's a sick son of a bitch.
True.
They gave me the worst of the worst. And here I am. How did that happen? How did that happen? He's a sick guy, and Letitia James is sick, and Alvin Bragg is sick. They're sick people. And others. Fanny. You can't call Fanny. She doesn't like it. She wants to be called Fanny. And
Veteran goes off on Pete Hegseth and Trump.
To have swastikas and fucking nooses.
Let's go, baby. Hell yeah. Well.
I'm here representing the fucking wrath of my ancestors. And look where the fucking country is at. How far has America fallen? Fucking pedophiles in office. Boys who took a shit in the halls of Congress. And the most racist fucking president in history. Talking shit about black liberation. Motherfucking fake ass patriots on Facebook. Calling me a motherfucking nigger.
Whoa, just because you're black doesn't mean you can just hard R like that, okay? Chill. Jesus.
2 years, 11 months, and 4 days. 5 operational deployments. Cuba, 95. Bosnia, 96. Kosovo, 99. Hey,
Some guy emailed me. Just a fucking... Hi, Destiny. I'm maintaining the Trump second term timeline. We are now officially 1 year in, 1/4 done with Trump's second term. The scale of what has happened is hard to wrap your mind around, and by recording things can help us remember. A troubling thought is that among everything noted below, this list may not include his most consequential actions. What will the next 3 years hold? The taking of Greenland, failure of NATO, suspending elections, martial law, widespread rioting or civil unrest, a health event, another Renee Goodlike event, ? Or something external we are unable to predict, like COVID. Anyway, happy 1 year. Stay hopeful and keep fighting. Hope this can be of your use, hope this can be to your use. He has pardoned 1,500 Jan 6ers, Trump coin crypto rug pull, executive order ending birthright, ending all remote work for federal employees, tariff on Colombia but backed off after, continual jokes that he'll get a third term, pauses federal financial assistance loans, settled $25 million lawsuit against Meta for blocking his account after J6, revoking visas of Palestine supporters, sending migrants to Guantanamo Bay. He blamed DEI for the helicopter plane crash. I remember that. That was crazy. Planning 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Back off for 1 month after empty concession. Musk Doge is getting access to Treasury data despite not being in the government. Mexico and Canada retaliate against tariffs. Musk shuts down U.S. aid, a disaster relief agency for other countries. Asking Israel to clear out Palestine and move them out. Taking down the Department of Education. Revoking Biden's security clearance. 25% tariff on steel. Plans on downsizing the government. Has Elon Musk behind the desk in the Oval Office. Talks with Putin that will end the war soon in Ukraine. Threatening Egypt with sanctions over not accepting all Gazans. Inflation increases under Trump by 3%, buying $400 million of armored cyber trucks, ? Firing 200,000 new government employees, bans Associated Press from entering into the White House after they refuse to call it the Gulf of America, forest workers being pushed out of jobs, Trump tweets, he who saves his country does not violate any laws, the Mayor Adam quid pro quo scandal, oh shit, that was this term, I forgot that, true, Musk moving into the IRS, Trump blames Ukraine for starting the war, Europe scrambles to step up if the U.S. backs out of supporting Ukraine. Executive order to gain control over independent agencies. Allegedly pressuring Romania for Andrew Tate to be freed, for the Tates to be freed. Executive order for executive being the interpreter of the law. Post photo of him wearing a crown on the White House Twitter account. That's the end of month 1. Elon says, I am living the meme. Doge was a meme. Brings chainsaw to CPAC. Steve Bannon hails during CPAC. Planning mass layoffs at the Pentagon. Enrique Tarrio arrested again, LOL. Musk sends out mass email to have government agents respond to what they're working on or be fired. Trump plans to lay off all 2,000 USAID workers. US backs Russia in the United Nations. Vote to condemn Russia for invading Ukraine. LOL, what the fuck? 21 Doge staffers resign, threatening Canada, Mexico tariffs again, and China too. Tate getting freed to Florida, easing the travel ban, banning trans people from the military. DeSantis says Tate's not welcome in Florida. Backing off on supporting Ukraine, meeting Zelensky on February 28th, utter disaster. EU leaders say the world needs a new leader. Former Russia Prime Minister applauds Trump. Epstein files release is a Rickroll. MAGA pissed off. Hegseth orders halt to cyber attacks on Russia. Trump coin trading at $1, completely collapsed now. Trump to continue with tariffs on Canada, Mexico, March 2nd, 2025. Pauses all aid to Ukraine. Speaker Johnson cancels all Republican town halls. Gives campaign rally. Dems don't fight. Oh, the campaign rally thing, that weirdo thing where the Dems held up the signs. Threatens college protesters, pausing intelligence sharing with Ukraine, planning to do an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, the VA laying off 88,000 people, says it's what anyone would do when Russia launches missiles into Ukraine after the intelligence canceling, revokes green cards for Hamas supporters, March 10th stocks in free fall, losing 6 months of growth after Trump declines to rule out a recession. Trump doing purchases of Tesla cars on the White House lawn. I remember that picture. Oh my God. Lift cutoff of aid to Ukraine to discuss a ceasefire. Ukraine ceasefire. Department of Education downsizes 50% of staff. Threatens EU with counter tariffs after raising ours 25%. Did 50% aluminum tariffs, then down to 25% after negotiations with Canada. Targeting Hillary Clinton's law firm with an executive order. EPA drops regulations. Reconsiders if greenhouse gases cause climate change. Another Ukraine ceasefire in talks with Putin. Trump fighting trade war alcohol with the European Union. Judge orders a reinstatement of federal workers fired by Doge. Trump saying in a meeting he wants to annex Greenland. Asking the Supreme Court to end birthright citizenship. March 14th budget bill passed. Schumer decides not to shut down. Internal division. AOC pissed. Saying that Biden pardons of J6 committee null and void due to not using an actual pen. Weird interaction where Trump deporting people to Venezuela when court order said they can't, but it had already happened basically. Ruling happened mid-air, LOL, but they still went. Removal of Secret Service people for Hunter and Ashley Biden. Having to reinstate thousands of federal workers post-mass firings. Chief Justice Roberts rebukes Trump publicly for calling for a judge to be impeached. Has a phone call with Putin. 30-day energy target ceasefire. Judge rules ending U.S. aid was unconstitutional. Mahmoud Khalil, pro-Palestine resident arrested by ICE, asking Zelensky for control over a nuclear plant, LOL. Jesus. This list is like 1,000 things long. Okay. Well. Can you post this list somewhere? Imagine there's a ton of websites for this now. Where I can paste pin it, I guess. Wait, did it not post? Hello? Paste and post? Wait, nothing's happening. Is something supposed to happen? Oh, wait, I have to click create new paste at the bottom, I think. Hold on. Heh. Pastebin's smart filters have detected potentially offensive or questionable content in your paste. The content you're trying to publish has been deemed potentially offensive or questionable by our filters. Because of this, you're receiving this warning. The paste can only be published with the visibility set to private. What does private mean? Will you be able to see it with a link? I'm too loud. Okay, okay. Trump leaks Macron texts and trashes Starmer. I thought he was happy with Starmer because he got an invite to the fucking palace or some bullshit. I don't even remember what for. Donald Trump has published private messages from European leaders after threatening to impose new tariffs on several EU countries over his demand to purchase Greenland. In one, Emmanuel Macron pleaded with the US president to scale back his threats against the Danish territory and offered him a dinner in Paris. In another, Mark Rutte, the NATO Secretary General, said he wanted to find a way forward on Greenland while offering to highlight Mr. Trump's other achievements at the Davos World Economic Forum this week. From President Macron to President Trump, my friend, we are totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland. Let us try to build great things. Why would he leak these? What a fucking loser. Jesus Christ. Wait. Mike Lee is the retard in Congress that posts all the stupid tweets and shit, right? Well, this goes hard. Share if you agree. Limited government Republicans after winning their election, but if we use the government for good, He understands this is like bad, right? Or is he's not anti-Trump ever, right? I don't... He's just pro-Ring? I don't even know. He might actually... He could just be a small government Republican who just never says anything about it. Or I don't know. I don't know anything. Deleted. Moderator. On another note, I don't understand why people post paywall articles on here. Deleted. What do they normally delete on r/conservative? There's something behind this whole Greenland thing. Like, it's just a huge bluff, but for what? I have no idea. He could easily push towards adding more bases on a lease, or push towards leasing land to find minerals, but this I just cannot figure out. Oh, okay. You'll get there eventually, guys.
But have you invited President Putin to be a member of the Board of Peace? Yeah, he's been invited.
Do you have any response to President Macron saying he will not join the Board of Peace?
Oh, did he say that? Well, nobody wants him because he's going to be out of office very soon. So, that's all right. What I'll do is if they feel like Costo, I'll put a 200% tariff on his wines and champagnes, and he'll join. But he doesn't have to join. If he said that, you're probably giving it to me a little bit differently. But if he actually did say that, but as you know, he's going to be out of office in a few months.
Have you invited President Putin to be a member of the Board of Peace?
Yeah, he's been invited.
Like an actual fucking retard. Did you clip him, or did he really say that?
First of all, last year you told me that you believe that the reason you won election is because God put you in this place so that you could save the world. Looking back 1 year, do you feel like God is proud of the effort that you've put in?
I do, actually. I think God is very proud of the job I've done.
Wait, what is this guy's name in the middle again? Every time I see this guy open his mouth, he's just always unfathomably fucking based. What's his name with the hat? Tim is pretty based too, and she's based. I should know all their names. That's JVL? We just call him JVL? Like he's a brand? Okay, I'm here for it.
And that includes the religion. I do, actually. I think God is very proud of the job I've done. And that includes the religion. You know, we're protecting a lot of people that are being killed. Christians, Jewish people, and lots of people are being protected by me that wouldn't be protected by another type of
Yes.
person.
Okay. I just watched the Daniel Dushi interview, and I was losing my mind over how he frames his questions to you. Is your tactic not to confront interviewers on how they phrase their questions? Was that the Israeli guy when I was in New York City? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it was supposed to be a super confrontational interview.
Jarvis, move his balls to the left a little bit. Bakira, activate cock and ball torture.
Okay. Okay.
One of the poorest countries in the world, and South Korea is one of the richest countries in the world. Why? The people are the same. Well, the idea behind it is actually quite simple. The North Koreans had an absolute self-sufficiency, and they didn't want to rely on any other country for anything, which sounds quite smart, but it turns out to be a massive hindrance. And the South decided to trade and open up and deal with all other countries. When you trade, means that you spend all of your time focusing on the one thing you are good at. So South Korea became very good at microchips. They didn't need to be good at making clothes. And if they needed clothes, they'd give microchips, the thing they were good at, for the things they were bad at in return. Imagine you wanted to be completely self-sufficient and you had to make your own clothes and grow your own food.
Wow, true. Justin, U.S. military seizes another ship linked to Venezuelan oil in the Caribbean. January 20th. This was 2.5 hours ago? Why? I thought we were friends with them now. Okay. We are the Somali pirates. We should just take all the Somalis that are doing the fraud and make them the pirates down here. Hello? What the fuck is this cringe fucking shit? SB 1090, Indoctrination in Public Schools by Senator Aaron Grawl and Representative Dana Trabulsi. This education bill would effectively mandate the inclusion of anti-abortion content, such as the Baby Olivia and Baby Oliver videos in school curriculums. The House version has an opt-out provision. It would also have a chilling effect on free speech and campus advocacy and requires opting in for any reproductive health instruction and HIV/AIDS instruction. What is this, some bill somebody's trying to pass? What is this thumbnail? No, fuck, I don't think it'll... Is there a way to see the thumbnail? He looked like a lizard man. Wait. Ah, fuck, whatever.
Before a new human being comes into existence, there is just one egg from the mother.
Wow. Baby Oliver!
And there are tens of millions of sperm cells from the father.
If it's your mom, it's hundreds of millions, by the way.
Although only one will bond with the egg. This moment is called conception or fertilization. Each parent provides chromosomes, 23 from the father and 23 from the mother. These chromosomes contain DNA, the coding that determines male or female, the color of the eyes, the texture of the hair, and countless other traits.
This is the thumbnail.
This is a boy named Oliver.
Oh no!
Oliver travels down his
He's gonna be a lizard man
towards the uterus. His outer layer will dissolve, and he will implant in the nutrient-rich lining of the mother's womb.
Ew.
Implantation begins about 6 days after fertilization and is complete by about 12 days.
Okay, I'm good. We don't need to watch it. 1 year ago today, one of the last posts on the POTUS46 account.
One at a time. Come on over here. Sit in this chair.
Oh, really?
President of the United States of America, Madam President. All right, slide you up. Welcome to the Oval Office.
Good to see you again.
How are you?
Great.
I can't believe I made you. After something. Oh my, what a thrill.
What a thrill.
Oh, we love it.
How you doing, man?
How are you? Well, how are you?
Better for seeing you. If you look around at all the busts and all the pictures, what we've done is to set a sense of what we want to do as an administration. Two political heroes, Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Cesar Chavez.
I don't know if this is acceptable, but I'm gonna hug you anyway.
There's no greater job I have than protecting Americans and bringing Americans wrongfully held home.
That folder right there, that's my schedule for the day.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know. I brought some friends I want to see.
Aw. He kills that kid.
Tell you what, closest I came to the moon was my moon rock here.
Okay, strong ending. This was it's an older clip, but Lindsey Graham talking about Biden. I always thought this was cute.
The bottom line is, if you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, then it's probably you got a problem. You need to do some self-evaluation. Because what's not to like? Here's what I can tell you. That life can change just like that. Don't take it for granted. Don't take relationships for granted. I called him after Bo died. And he basically said, well, Bo was my soul. We've talked for a long time. He came to my ceremony and said some of the most incredibly heartfelt things that anybody could ever say to me. And he's the nicest person I think I've ever met in politics.
Is that right?
He is as good a man as God ever created. And we don't agree on much. But I think he's been dealt a really gut blow. I think he focuses on what he's got to do, not what he lost. His heart's been ripped out, but he's going to make sure that the other members of his family is well taken care of. And he started talking about his grandkids. More worried about them than anything. We just talked about the future.
Yeah.
He started talking about the future of his family.
I found one thing about Naomi Wolf that I'll never forget is her learning live on air that she completely misunderstood the legal term she based her entire dissertation around. She didn't bother to do proper research, and this is very much a pattern for. Oh, fuck, I feel like we looked into this a long time ago.
You get sentences, as I mentioned, of penal servitude for 10 or 15 years. And I found like several dozen executions, but that was, again, only looking at the Old Bailey records and the crime tables.
Several dozen executions?
Correct. And this corrects a misapprehension that is in every website, that the last man was executed for sodomy in Britain in 1835.
I don't think you're right about this.
Uh-oh. Was it like executing like a warrant or something? And she thought it was like executing like kill?
One of the cases that you look at that's salient in your report is that of Thomas Silver. It says teenagers were now convicted more often. Indeed, that year, which is 1859, 14-year-old Thomas Silver was actually executed for committing sodomy. The boy was indicted for an unnatural offence, guilty, death recorded. This is the first time the phrase unnatural offence entered the Old Bailey records. Thomas Silver wasn't executed. Death recorded. I was really surprised by this, and I looked it up. Death recorded is what's in, I think, most of these cases that you've identified as executions. It doesn't mean that he was executed. It was a category that was created in 1823 that allowed judges to abstain from pronouncing a sentence of death on any capital convict whom they considered to be a fit subject for pardon. I don't think any of the executions you've identified here actually happened.
Well, that's a really important thing to investigate. What is your understanding of what death recorded means?
Death recorded, this is also from, I've just read you the definition of it there from the Old Bailey website. But I've got here a newspaper report about Thomas Silver, and also something from the prison records that show the date of his discharge.
The prisoner was found guilty and sentence of death was recorded.
Yeah.
But the jury recommended the prisoner to mercy on account of his youth.
See, I think this is a kind of, when I found this, I didn't really know what to do with it, because I think it's quite a big problem with your argument. Also, it's the nature of the offence here. Thomas Silver committed an indecent assault on a 6-year-old boy.
Yep. What the fuck? Okay, I'll just say it. I've seen enough videos of the faces of liberal white women in conflict with ICE to know what's up. Liberal men, at this point, sorry, are disproportionately estrogenized, physically passive, submissive due to woke gender hectoring, or porn addicted. While liberal women are disproportionately sexually frustrated. Policing others, as in the pandemic, was an outlet for them, but it was not nearly enough. The smiles you see on their faces now say it all. White women long for all-out combat with ICE, who tend to be strong, physically confident, masculine men. Because the conflict is a form of physical release for them, they long for actual kinetic battle, and it will get even uglier. Jesus fucking Christ. What do you think are the chances of her? I'm just curious. Maybe not. Let's just do a little random look-see. Wait, if I search I'm just curious. Ivermectin. I'm just curious. Just maybe nothing. The government cartel paid billions to Walgreens and CVS not to fill ivermectin. The question is why? America Out Loud News. What about mail-in ballots? Maybe? Nah, I feel like the election stuff is a little bit more. Oh. My ballot, barcode at bottom, Ancram, NYS. No election official could give source code, so my developer could read barcode. I was forbidden to photo my signature, though legal. Dem poll watcher said I could contact Dem boiler room. The code unavailable for privacy. Lawyers, email me. What else? What else do we have? Certainly something about lockdowns being bullshit. Maybe? Britain is now a showcase of collapsing democracy. New initiatives are killing British liberties on all sides, starting with speech. It's clear that the path for the population to accept this was paved by the 2020-2022 lockdowns. Okay, hold on. We're on a roll. All right, what else? Oh! How about social contagion? Be a little bit more. For trans people, maybe? Fuck. No contagion. Did I spell contagion right? What about trans? What about bathroom? Bathroom, maybe? Why not just compete with men? Seriously, I don't get this issue at all. Wear a dress, whatever, and compete with men. Based. Just as a note, there are no such things as trans girls. There are boys who are dressed as girls, cross-dressing boys. Okay. What else? Let's see. Do we have any... Raw milk? I feel like, I don't know how many people actually gave a fuck about this. I feel like this was like a... Well, In the face of hysteria of all kinds, Brian of Shia SBI and I are delighted to enjoy a gift of fresh raw milk from the Happy Cows at Churchtown Dairy. What else? What else can we get up in here? What's some stuff that Huberman dude talks about? Oh, microplastics, but that's cheating. That's like that's a freebie, right? What? No microplastics in our balls? Oh, well, can a surprising condiment clear microplastics?
It's Naomi Wolf with a special guest, a new guest.
Okay. Seed oils? Do people really care about this shit? Seed oils. I am so grateful for this natural healing education. I started to develop a raging eye infection. Too gross to describe and uncomfortable. Dreading a doctor visit and pharma treatment, I used a chamomile tea bag as a compress and this chlorine dioxide wash and... Oh, no seed oil things. You guys struck out. Oh, let's go ahead and throw a myocarditis up there. What? What about just vaccine injury? The numbers don't lie. This graph from theirs shows a significant rise in adverse events reported after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine, with cardiovascular being number one. That's kind of like myocarditis, right? Well, I mean, it is myocarditis. Okay. Couple more. What do we got? Oh, something about Fauci, of course. Something about Fauci. At 11:49, he delivers the red meat, charging Dr. Fauci and others with a conspiracy to create a coronavirus chimera in league with China in 2015. Obviously, that lab leak was true. Has just found this. Our War Room / Daily Clout. Pfizer documents. Research team volunteer. Lawyer. Blah, blah, blah. This is all vaccine stuff. Does she not talk about it? Who the fuck is this and why do we care? Well, it's just funny how, like, predictable. You can predict, like, every single belief that a retard has based on one retarded mega belief. You can find, like, they all have, like, 50 million different things that they all have to buy into because it's a fucking cult. So it's kind of... Ooh, Ukraine biolabs. Okay. I'm an American Jew. Billions to Ukraine, and yet on YouTube now there are dozens of videos showing American people how to survive and feed their families 5 meals for $25 or emergency budgets. Isn't the same true for people who hate Trump, though? No. The same is true for people who, well, yes and no. Depends on how you phrase that question. The people who dislike Trump are also probably going to have a constellation of beliefs that they all believe in. The difference is that most of those aren't retarded. But the people that you see that hate Trump are just the people that conservatives are screaming about all day long who, like, aren't representative of the average Democrat at all. Like, the average Democrat doesn't know who any crazy, wokey, insane person is, except for the fact that people on the right love talking about them constantly. Oh yeah, what are her feelings on Greenland? Oh my God. Justin Trudeau's abrupt resignation sends shockwaves. Could this be the start of a bold new chapter for Canada and Greenland? The left is really melting down over Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. Why are Democrats outraged over Trump's plans for Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal? Should we give back the 13 colonies too? Drew dives into the history and explains why. You know what? I'm good on that, actually. That's 1 year ago? Oh, true. January 16, 2025. That is 1 year ago. Okay. If the president, in his private capacity, can bring a civil suit against the DOJ, then the DOJ, in their criminal capacity, should be able to bring criminal charges against the president. Is this actually happening? This seems ridiculous. It's strange for the president of the United States to be litigating in his personal capacity against the Justice Department that he runs, but he's seeking an order barring current, former, and future DOJ officials from releasing Jack Smith's second volume. The United States of America is the plaintiff versus Donald J. Trump, Waltine Nauta, and Carlos de Oliveira. These are the people who are part of the Mar-a-Lago case. To be litigating in his personal capacity. But the DOJ is suing him for some reason, or the United States is suing him. As of when? Wait, is this a civil case or criminal case? Oh, wait. No. Why don't we just look it up, I guess? This is the original indictment for the Mar-a-Lago case. This is that original case. So they filed a motion, President Donald J. Trump's unopposed expedited motion for an order prohibiting the release of Volume 2 of the final report unlawfully prepared by Jack Smith and his office. What, are court cases ever, like, completely over and you can't file new motions? Like, once a court case, like, reaches a verdict and everything, can you just, like, 3 years later, like, file a motion as part of that case? How does that work? What report does he not want released? Maybe something related to the Mar-a-Lago stuff? It'll still ultimately be up to a judge to decide. However, the fact that the motion is unopposed, I mean, probably increases the likelihood of a judge traditionally approving it. Fucking loser.
As president in Greenland, there was no coup, but as President Trump said, this territory is simply important for the security of the US. Crimea is equally important for the security of Russia.
Brooklyn Park. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Ruley, Police Chief of the City of Brooklyn Park. Behind me is a bunch of amazing police chiefs that are here in support of a very short but very important message that we want to share with you. What you won't hear from many of us today is rhetoric of abolish ICE or that there shouldn't be immigration enforcement. The truth is, immigration enforcement is necessary for our national security and for local security. But how it's done is extremely important. In fact, we have a long history of working exceptionally well with our federal partners, including ICE agents, and we have seen the best of them perform their job extremely well in the past. With that said, recently, as the last 2 weeks, we, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from US citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally. As this went on over the past 2 weeks, we started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty. Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them. In Brooklyn Park, one particular officer that shared her story with me was stopped as she passed ICE going down the roadway. When they boxed her in, they demanded her paperwork, of which she's a US citizen and clearly would not have any paperwork. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands, prevented her from recording it. The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction. And after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left. I wish I could tell you that this was an isolated incident. In fact, many of the chiefs standing behind me have similar incidents with their off-duty officers. This isn't just important because it happened to off-duty police officers, but what it did do is we know that our officers know what the Constitution is, they know what right and wrong is, and they know when people are being targeted, and that's what they were. If it is happening to our officers, it pains me to think of how many of our community members are falling victim to this every day. It has to stop.
All right. Wait. Quick meme check. Asmongold falls for fake news about Ireland and then gets debunked by his own subreddit. Uh-oh. It's because I still have the admins, the mods in my pocket on LSF. Thank God. Destiny, fuckers don't fuck the Middle East. What? What was this even about? Miami Beach Mayor. Oh. I hate Jews right now. 900 comments. What? Why? Oh, what the fuck? Who's this guy? He speaks my language. Every time he does one of these base statements, I wonder if someone will clip and post it. And Destinies, this is him saying, I'm not inclined to examine and talk about Israel and the Middle East on stream right now. True.